Blether, Blether, Blether.
Good
I can't be
evening,
trusted.
guys.
Don't leave me with a guest unattended. I will just talk and then we'll go right over the time and you'll be like, okay, shut up, everybody. Anyway, hi, everyone.
So, guys, yeah, that is Kat just admitting to you all that the reason we're 3 minutes late is her fault. So hopefully, you just said don't leave her with a guest because I get them talking.
Don't leave me alone with people.
So, welcome along to our Thursday night Blether. Yeah, sorry we're a couple of minutes latchy. Hopefully, you didn't miss us too much, and have found something better to do. Because what else is better to do than sit, listen to us, chat whiskey, in between chatting about every other trouble in the world. You'll probably see with the smiles and laughing as we did go live. We're already having a great laugh with our guests tonight in the green room off camera. So really looking forward to having a great night with Greg and you guys, of course. Get the questions in. Let us know what's in the glass. Dave is punching big with a 19-year-old Gleann Mor in the glass tonight. Not Glenn Morangi. Gleann Mor.
Gleann Mor, yes. That must be one up there with one of the most mispronounced ones, I'd imagine.
Yeah, but I think they like the fact that folk mispronounce it because on their label they kind of have the broken down syllables, don't they? And it's Gleann Morangi. And I think that actually encourages people to say Gleann Morangi, but maybe I'm wrong. But their marketing, was it not in the 90s or early 2000s they had the two guys in the hill in the Glen?
Yes. So that's the reason.
And I'm sure they pronounce it Gleann Morangi.
Well, I tried to refine that video advert because it's the very reason that my grandpa, that was his favorite whiskey, and I fell in love with that advert. And I remember thinking it was like the cleverest marketing out there because you just wanted to be that guy that sat there in the armchair.
And it was so simple. It's just like, that was it. It was brilliant. Anyway, that's that's why people mispronounce it, I think.
Yeah, maybe.
So good evening. Who have we got? We've got Big Poor. We've got Tim Powells. We've got Dave Fagerson, Ali Amott. Who else is on? Alan Newland. What to have? What to have? That is the question that we're all asking. What are you having? Kat, what are you on tonight? What's your dram?
Well, in honour of our guest who is based in Leith, or has been based in Leith, we'll get to that story soon too. And we've just been chatting off air about trams and Leith. For anybody who's following my Instagram stories the other day, I went to visit Port of Leith Distillery. So unfortunately, I didn't have time for the full tour because I didn't factor in for the fact it was the Edinburgh Marathon. So all the buses were just to Fook. And I was like mad panicking I wasn't going to make it home. So I got their little wee table whiskey, which is lovely. And look how cute that wee bottle is. It's like a little wee message in a bottle. You could just throw that into the sea and it could just bob away.
Empty, of course, surely.
Empty with a wee message, single, age 38, available and in Aberdeenshire. So that's what I've got tonight.
I something slightly older, I think, is the Tamdhu 20-year-old. I have got from the rare find. Gleann Mor. It's outstanding. Value for money, second to none. 245 bottles from this one. If you haven't tried it, get that in your basket. It's absolutely banging. And I've even managed to find my rare find whiskey glass.
Oh, you are fully branded up and ready to go.
Fully branded. I know. It's the kind of glass I always go to the glass because it's got if you know the branding, it's got that little fingerprint on the logo. Every time I pick up this glass, I go to wipe it off because it looks like a smudge.
Same with the boxes. And whenever I try and put a box to the till, I'm like wiping the top of it, trying to get the smudge off. But you realise you need to ask Greg about this fingerprint.
It's got to be deliberate.
Yes.
Is it Janice that keeps calling it the James Bond dram, or is it you? Because it's like a secret fingerprint
Oh no, it's not me. It must be Janice. Yeah. You got to scan your fingerprint to get into it. That would be awesome.
Well, that's the next step of the box. Greg's eyes are lighting up off screen, thinking, "How cool would that be?"
Why we're not?
Without further ado, we are going to. We've got a rousing San Francisco good morning from Rick.
Good
rousing good morning. Somebody's got up in the right side of the bed.
Nick is Rick is awake and aroused. That's awesome.
Rick. Okay. Moving swiftly on from Rick's arousal, let's bring in our guest. We've got Greg Urquhart.
I meant to say roused, not aroused. I meant to say roused, not aroused. Sorry, Rick. Roused.
Not sure how I meant to follow that one, to be fair.
Yeah. So Greg, I hope you're aroused. And
I'm here.
Could you stop saying aroused? I can't deal with it.
You got a wee glow on your face now, Kat.
It's not even watershed yet.
You kept it clean. Greg, how are you? You well?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. It's good to see you. It's been a while.
It's been a while, yeah. Great to have you on. We've finally managed to nail you down. And I mean, in all honesty, the night that we had to cancel, you had obviously your clients to deal with and completely understand that. We just kind of came on and chatted crap about.
We just havered shite for 2 hours.
Were you slagging me off because I wasn't there to defend myself? Is that what happened?
Not because you weren't there. We just slagged you off anyway.
Fair. That's fair. That's fair. It was probably all true. Whatever you said, it was probably true.
We'll go with that. Yeah, that's a lovely looking backdrop you've got. The shelves look pretty funky. Are you at home or?
Very nice.
Yeah, I've got this is my wee COVID escape room, as I called it. So yeah, we were. I don't know. It was kind of I think it was like a Noah's Ark moment. I decided to put a bar in the garden before anybody had thought about COVID, and then the week of the first lockdown, the guy who was doing the work handed me the keys. So it was a good transition into keeping my nose active.
Excellent. So is that kind of a little work getaway if you need to do some stuff as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was much more used during that kind of period, as you can imagine, but still gets a good bit of use. If we've got a family birthday or something, we usually have the family round in here, and then I've got a few mates that are into whiskey, obviously. They come round for a few drams now and again. So especially around about when there's new outturns, I don't know what makes them come round about then, but yeah, it's a good wee kind of space to have, and I can just, if I need to jump on a laptop and stuff, it gets me out the house and away for the wife and the wee one. So I'm not bothering them; they're fine around me, but I'm more likely to annoy them with smelling whiskey and clinking glasses and stuff.
How old's the wee one now?
She just turned four in April, so she's definitely at the height of her powers over me. She pretty much runs the house now. So yeah, as I say, it works out quite well too. But I've literally locked myself in here because she's still awake, and there is a chance she might bang on the window. So if you hear some banging, it's probably her trying to track me down.
No worries.
We always have Killian join us before bedtime, so we're child friendly.
Oh, nice. Oh, perfect.
He's actually. I'm watching him. Tony's away out with the dogs, so I've got on the monitor, and he's found he's found the light switch. He's got the light on, and he's not quite sleeping yet.
He's just excited to tune in. I think that'll be what it is.
Yeah. We won't have him live. We won't have him in person, but that's as close as you're going to get to see him.
We've got a monitor in here as well for very, very much the same sort of thing. How is he doing anyway?
Good. Yeah. He's a happy wee man. Oh, he's turned around to see you.
Oh, perfect. There he is.
Yeah, we met him yet.
Cheers. No, and we've not had a chance to have a wee dram together to celebrate as well. So we'll need to get that sorted. Virtual's definitely one thing, but yeah, face to face would be good. It's been too long.
We'll hold you to that. So we've got Donna Past Whiskey's just joined us on YouTube. So we've got, for those who don't know, we run on Facebook and on YouTube. So we've got the two. So if we're saying hello to people that you don't see on the chat, probably they're on one of our other channels. David Muir is in. Good evening, David. Hope you're well. I met David up in Inverness. So David's a regular of the shop. He's been in our Whiskey Academy and always joins in when he can on the Facebook Blethers. I met him on Sunday up in Inverness. So we had a wee weekend away. Managed to bag a few. Not with David. David was with his wife in Nairn. Me and Coney and Killian were away we're Edmonton. We're up north of Inverness. I think you've stayed there, Kat. You've probably lived not far from Edmonton.
I don't think I've actually lived up there, to be honest, but there's still time.
So we met up with Dave on the way home in Inverness, and Fraser McFarlane as well. For those who follow Instagram on Instagram, Fraser was there. So I said to Fraser, "Oh, I'm in with David having a coffee." And Fraser says, "Oh, that's the guy who's always in the bath." So David is getting a reputation as being the bath guy. For those who don't know,
is that a bath of whiskey or is it just a normal bath?
Well, he's got an attic of whiskey and a bath of I get champagne probably. Or something.
Oh, probably. That's quite the image of David sat in a bath of champagne. Are you currently in a bath of champagne tonight, David? Let us know.
That's no, yeah. What's in your glass tonight, Greg? What are you drumming on?
Which one? No, so I've got a glass of water, obviously, and then I've poured. I don't know if you've actually seen this because I've not been up since we kind of brought it to market, but we've got there was a bit. As you've retailers for a while, but we didn't really have something that was an accessible entry-level blend. That was just something that was missing within the inventory. So we brought in the Leith whiskey, which is a homage to the blending and bottling that used to go on in Leith back in the day. So it's no nonsense kind of. I've got the bottle there. It's a tall, round, pretty, like everything's kind of stripped back, and obviously Rare finds a bit more kind of fancy bottle and packaging and stuff. This is just a tall, round label on the front. No nonsense whiskey. So I'm on that. This is a Rioja version. So that's just come to market recently. We had the Leith Legacy blend, which is a 10-year-old. This one's a 5. But they've been quite well received. I find it's just a really kind of good dram to chat and just sup away at. It doesn't need too much attention. It just does the job. It's a lovely kind of starter whiskey for me. And then I've got a few others here which will open as we go along as well.
I love Rioja. That sounds yum. I like the label as well. I kind of like the kind of vintage kind of old.
Yeah, that's a different colorway from the original. The Legacy is just a white label. It's so simple, white with black text. And the idea being that it's like we treat all of our spirits. It's as natural as possible. So they're all natural color. And they're 46%. It just allows us to deliver it as best as we can. That's kind of our ethos. So that's why change it for bringing out an entry level product. We still want it to be of a certain quality. So that's kind of where we're at with that one.
Sure.
Awesome.
What about you guys? What have you got? Oh, I've seen yours actually, Mike. You've got the Tam.
Yeah, you're off screen, weren't you? I was going to say I'm getting deja vu here. I'm pretty sure, but you're off screen. Yeah. The Oloroso 20-year-old Tam do. I'm glad it's a great price because it's so easy to drink.
It's dangerous, that one.
For a 20-year-old single cask Tam do Oloroso, 135. It's an absolute steal.
Yeah, don't say that. Don't say that too much because if that gets up the chain, I'll get because I do the pricing. So if you're saying it's too cheap, I'll get a slap around the head, and the next time round it'll be more expensive. But you know me, I always try and be kind of keen on the pricing. So I think we do a good job.
You've got it on the money there with the price. I think it's any more would be too expensive. Yes. Any less would be too cheap. You've absolutely nailed.
I'll take that.
As usual. I found and going back to Graham Harvey, was it Graham Harvey's surname? Do you work with you guys?
Oh, that would be before I was there. This you're going back probably nearly 10 years ago. Yeah,
it was. It would have been because we are 9 full years in November, so it would have been and he came. He was one of our first in-house shop tastings,
Okay.
and I found a Brackla 9-year-old.
Right. Okay.
Ash, and I kind of told myself this morning, bring it up because it's proper old school. But just in getting him to bed and stuff, I completely forgot to grab it. But
that would have been in the old packaging. Was it the dumpy or the tall rounds?
Bottoms, kind of more.
I remember the one.
Not exactly like that, but that kind of slightly dumpier round. Yeah. Is it a stag on the label? Yeah.
So it was. If you actually look at it for long enough, you'll see it's like a side profile of someone's face with a hat on, as well as being a stag at the same time. It was quite a clever design. Obviously, that's been replaced by a thumbprint. But yeah, I've been with the business for probably over a year before I actually clocked it, and I was like, that's actually quite clever. But yeah, I've not actually seen a bottle for a while. One of the older ones.
And if you look at this thumbprint long enough, it's you holding a glass of whiskey, isn't
it? Yeah, well, that's just my reflection.
Excellent. I've never seen that two images in the one before, but I just remember.
Yeah, or maybe I'm just like I had too many drams when I looked at it, but yeah, that was kind of the thought behind the design. As you know, but those things that go viral where people like to see a green dress or a black dress or whatever. It's maybe like that. Like every second person probably sees the other picture or whatever. But it was a clever redesign.
Awesome. But that was I would say that at least 9 years ago.
It'll be about that. Yeah.
We had a great night that night. Graham's now retired, isn't he?
I think so. Yeah, I actually never had the chance to meet Graham. He'd left, and then I think there was a chap had been in after Graham for a wee bit as a kind of transition, and then I joined the business after that. Although not in the same capacity as Graham at the time, I obviously moved into that side. But yeah, it was. I never got a chance to meet him, unfortunately.
Kat, you're back.
I'm back. Sorry, I had a child who's looking for a key. They wanted to exit the building.
You locked them up again.
Well, the more of them that leave, the better hope that my internet will survive past 8 o'clock. Actively promoting them leaving the building is, I'll help you leave. Let me get the key.
Awesome.
My middle son keeps reappearing with no, I'm not going to say it because there could be somebody from Huntley Watch. It's fine. I'm just going to retract that statement. It doesn't matter. Moving on. We'll end up on the Facebook complainers page.
Was it a shotgun?
No. I mean, have you met his father? No, it wasn't a shotgun.
That's okay then.
It's not a shotgun. Anyway. Tell us more about you, Greg. What's your background? How did you get into
So I used to be in shotgun sales. No, I'm joking. As I said, I joined Gleann Mor probably about 8 years ago now, coming up for 8 years. Prior to that, I was in photography at the time. That's kind of what led me into working with Gleann Mor. So at the time, I was freelancing as a photographer, a bit of product stuff, a bit of weddings, just trying a few different genres, but really kind of honed in on product and quite liked the drinks industry. One, because at a wedding, nobody sits still and you're trying to herd cats for the whole day. But if you put a bottle down somewhere to take a photo, it tends to stay there most of the time. And actually, a comment that you mentioned about throwing a bottle in the sea, we'll come back to that in a little while because I have got a good story there. So yeah, I came in to help out at Gleann Mor to do some photography for the gin side of the business because we're not just whiskey. So we had at the time, which was just before the gin boom, we were doing oak aged gin, which is pretty common now, I would say, but at the time was very niche and a niche within a niche at the time because gin was just on kind of the upswing. And I went in to do some kind of test photography for some of that the product range, and then realised they did whiskey as well. And one thing led to another, and then within a couple of months, I'd been given keys to the warehouse. And was helping do some of the admin stuff. I mean, we had literally a desk and a couple of casks of the gin in the building, and that was really the business at the time. It was very much as an indie bottler, quite small at the time, and at the end of the scale where my director was buying casks of whiskey, a few casks, and then just bottling them out. It wasn't what we've come to be become now, which we'll touch on a bit later. So yeah, it was quite a quick transition, and then probably about 4 or 5 years ago, I start to get more of a kind of free rein on the whiskey side of things, and then that's led to kind of becoming spirits manager for the business. So I've hung the camera up now. Still do the odd shoot for myself. I love still doing kind of landscape stuff, but yeah, very much moved away from the kind of paid gigs and just doing full time kind of looking after the inventory for the business now.
So
yeah,
do you do any photography for the website? Because the pictures on the Rare
I
Finds
used to.
website are beautiful.
Yeah, I used to. So up until literally about 4 or 5 weeks ago, I'm just too busy now. We've got a new we've got several new warehouses since I last spoke to Mike, but one in particular up in Lowland, which is Edinburgh Whiskey's part of our portfolio as well. It's a joint venture that we're involved in, and that has its own warehouse in Glenrothes, but the capacity for that's 22,000 casks. Equivalent in terms of space. So obviously it depends if it's butts or hoggies or whatever, but 22,000 hoggy kind of capacity in there. And that's where we're starting to pull quite a lot of the core product for Rare Find. And I'm in there quite a lot now, maybe once or twice a week. So I've not really got time to do the photography anymore. So we've now got a media agency that we've been working with for a while. They've taken that off my hands. So up until a few weeks ago, a couple of months ago maybe, I was still doing the photography for the business, but as I say, I think my time's better spent in looking after the whiskey and the gins and so on.
I think it's similar to Dean, isn't it, from Money McDavid? I think, did he start as a photographer maybe? Because I think he does a lot of the pictures, doesn't he? I think he's pretty good at that. And then kind of moved into what is his title? He's got a fantastic title. It's like creator
Master of Labour of Creation or something like that, yeah.
Like a sort of Hogwarts teacher title. It's awesome.
That's a good title, yeah. I've just got spirits manager. I've just
title.
tells you exactly what it is, yeah.
Master of nonsense. Maybe I could be mistress of nonsense. I don't know.
That sounds like an OnlyFans kind of name, though, doesn't it?
I gave myself a bit of the bulk there saying it. Actually, I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to be the mistress of nonsense, or maybe I do. I don't know.
How would you know? How would you know that would sound like something on OnlyFans, Mike?
Well, exactly. How would you know?
I have no answer.
Under the bus there.
No answer. That's not going to get me in more trouble.
That is quite a transition from photographer into like selecting casks. Like, how did you know that, or when did you know that maybe like you had a good nose or a good palate, or like how did that evolve?
So I think the being given a bit of a free rein, well, not a free rein. There was obviously a bit of a core range to try and hit with Firkin gin. So that was my first experience of using casks to finish or age spirit. That was we had a few different. So we had an American oak version, with an Isla cask version, and we had some sherry finishes, kind of special stuff, special kind of limited edition stuff. So seeing that impact over a period of months, 6 months, 8 months, that a first fill cask can do with gin, the concept's just the same. Obviously, alongside that, I'd spent quite a lot of my personal time drinking whiskey. I was in whiskey clubs. I was a whiskey drinker anyway, so I had a natural kind of. I was intrigued by it at the time, and then as the business grew and there was more opportunity to kind of sidestep into the whiskey, I was given a few projects to work on, and then that's led to for the last kind of 4 years or so, I've been doing the kind of Rare Find portfolio and our blending now. I look after the blending as well. So yeah, it's very much a learning on the job, and that's what I tend to find when I speak to other people who do similar roles. There's so many different routes into whiskey, and if you're right place, right time. I think for me was going back to the photography. If I often tell this story, so if anybody's watching that's been at a tasting with me, you've probably heard this before, but the reason that the brand and myself got speaking in the first place was I was out doing some landscape photography in Leith, and I seen a fancy sports car outside of the Malmaison. I took a picture of it, and it was branded up with Firkin gin on the side, and I'd been quite a astute freelancer. I was tagging the brands that if I had something in my photographs that had a brand tied to it, I would obviously tag them in it. So I woke up in the morning with a message to say, basically, can you give us a call about that picture? And I initially thought they were going to ask me to take it down, but they were asking if they could get the photo somehow, and I said that's absolutely fine. You can have it. just keep me in mind if you've got any photo work. And that was within a week or so I was in doing the bottle photography. So it is quite serendipitous the way I've kind of moved over into joining a small business at the time. I think if the business is doing well and growing, and you can apply yourself, you can always just get kind of pulled up with the business as it goes, and that's definitely what's happened with myself.
That's an amazing story. That's what I like about the Blether. You kind of, everybody's road into whiskey's been so different, isn't it? You kind of every week there's a different story about how folk have got into the industry.
Yeah,
it's never too late, people.
Because you flirted with your own indie range as well, didn't you?
Yeah. Well. It was quite short-lived, but it was a really good. Actually, this will tie into the bottle and the sea incident, which we'll build up to that. So
I love that story. I was going to come full into that. That's why I asked.
So one of my friends, Ross, big in his whiskey as well. The two of us were kind of always going to tastings together. He's got an amazing collection of whiskey. I've got obviously a decent one. I work in the industry. I'm quite lucky. But his is just incredible. Lots of Glendronach, which will please Mike as well. So yeah, we had a chat. He was a web developer at the time, and I was doing photography. And we thought, well, if he can build a website and he's got a collection of whiskey, and obviously I had some as well, why don't we just be indie bottlers? So it was quite a short-lived project because I got pulled a bit more into Gleann Mor at the time. Our director was kind enough to give me a bit of rope to go and try and do it myself, but while juggling work and learn all the pitfalls of trying to choose bottles and label designs and everything that comes with doing it. You'll know yourselves with the stuff that you guys do. It's a time-consuming process, but it was good to scratch that itch, and it was really good to learn all the things that can go wrong within that, with the wrong size labels and all this kind of stuff. So it gave me a bit of a grounding, because I can say that I've done that. And at the time, what we were doing was using Rossi's and myself, our collections, to do the photography, just to create content. So he had it was a single malts of Scotland bottling of Rosebank 16, and I took it down to Portobello Beach in Edinburgh and set up as I would have done 1,000 times with other bottles, and a rogue wave came up, and I'm standing holding my camera, and I had the split-second decision to make: to drop my camera and grab the bottle, or to just hold my camera and watch the bottle sail away. And unfortunately, that was one of Rossi's bottles, so I had quite an awkward conversation after I'd sent that bottle off to sea. So I'm hoping someday that bottle washes up in Norway or something, somebody finds it and posts it. That'd be great, because it would end the story well. But at the moment, it's still missing. So if anybody's bored tonight and they want to go and search Portobello Beach, I mean, it was a few years ago, but it'll be out there somewhere.
Oh my god! Well, I took a picture of a bottle at sea the other day, and somebody said on Instagram, "Well, careful for rogue waves." And I was like, "Oh yeah, but it's right enough." Careful.
There you go. Yeah.
Did you have it? Did you have it on a bollard on the wood, and it kind of came off, or was it in the sand?
No, this was on the sand. This one. I like how you've added in. I could have thought about that and maybe put it on something. I wish you were there at the time, but no, I put it in the sand. The thing is, I could see with that kind of shot, I always would watch where the tide's coming up to, and you can see the tide line anyway, and it was going out at the time. But yeah, it's just a bad decision to put it where I put it, and yeah, here we are.
Gosh,
I'm a great guy to have after an emergency, never during, always after.
I've replaced the bottle, but there, as you can imagine, Rosebank's not the easiest to come by, and I couldn't find any at the same age statement, so I ended up, I think it was a 20-year-old. So yeah, it cost me a pretty penny, and it was a lesson well learned. So yeah, I won't be doing that again.
Gosh.
Yeah.
No, it's easy. You see all these amazing bottle pictures, and you have to wonder how many outtakes. Like, even if I'm trying to put something up on Instagram and they're not that good, but like, oh my god, like, it's never the first picture, is it? You like move it and you shift it, and somebody walks past, or you get covered in a wave, or like the sun goes behind a cloud. You're like, for God's sake, I've carried this bottle all the way to Monroe just to get a picture of it, so I can get some Instagram likes, because that's how shallow I am in life. And it's taking ages just to get a photograph.
I know. If we go for like a walk, but not so much now, but when I was just doing it just for myself, I'd always have a bottle in my camera bag that I maybe just got or just opened, and I wanted to get a picture of it. And I used to drive my wife demented if we were on a walk, because I'd be like, we'll just stop for a minute, and she knows it's not like it. It's like going fishing. You're standing there for just waiting for the right light. It's
This is what I do to my kids. I made my 11-year-old son stand on the roadside next to a sign that says Williamson. It's like the place is called Williamston, and I had a bottle of Williamson. I was like, right, hold it against the T. I'm like, it doesn't matter if you're not tall enough, just stretch. Forget about the cars. It's fine. Just hold it there. He's like, Mom, you're so weird. None of my friends have to do this. I'm like, it's educational. Now shut up.
Yeah.
But it was a great picture, to be fair. And you can't even see him in it. It's fine. I'm not promoting children.
Yeah.
He's not even getting credit for doing that.
No. He's just basically a hand model, like a free child labour hand model.
He is, yeah. He is just like the perfect height for it as well. But yeah, so it's not just me that carries a bottle of whiskey around in the hope that you're going to get somewhere nice to take a picture of it. The things we do.
I don't get walking enough to be able to do that. I don't get out enough to walk anywhere. If I am walking, I've got 2 dogs, one in each hand, so it's a nightmare.
Yeah, they're not the easiest things to balance bottles on, are they, dogs?
They're not. No. There's a thing. You could get some kind of little backpack that would strap onto the dog's back that you could slide your bottle into, I'm sure.
Like those dogs that give you whiskey if you get lost in the snow.
Yeah, but on their back.
You're just reinventing a St. Bernard there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been done, Mike.
No. This one would be on the back of the dog.
You have to just genetically modify a dog to have a flat coffee table type back. It's a lot of work. You take more walks.
Upright.
Or just get a kangaroo. They're good to go. They're ready.
Oh my God.
Breed a kangaroo with a dog, and then you've got a dog with a pouch, and you can just shove.
I mean, you're going to need a lot of soft lighting and romantic music to get a dog to look at a kangaroo like that.
I'm sure these new AI kind of programs would be able to do that.
Well, potentially. I think we're not talking about koalas last week. We were on the kangaroos. I love it. All the marsupials.
Yeah.
We're not going down the koala rabbit hole. Was that last week or was that the week before? It was last week.
It was with Paul Dempsey, wasn't it? That was last week.
2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. No, we had Deanston Distell.
Oh God, so we did. I can't believe I forgot him twice. I forgot I met him and I forgot he was last week. That's terrible. No, you're right. I don't think we talked about any animals last week. Shocking. Imagine that, just talking about whiskey. Weird.
I know. I'm just looking. I'm trying to get a distraction from the guys at home here. We have got Rick, Mike. What are all those pins in your cap? Well, this side is quite a lot. It's grown since I've last seen you.
Are looking very gangster.
What have we got? Little Brown Dog, Glendronach, Tomatin, Glenallachie, the Cabrich, Glenfarclas, Annick, the Highland Whiskey Academy, pride of place there. Glengeary.
Nice. I was waiting for a decent Glen making an appearance. Cheers, everyone. If Glengeary's mentioned, everybody has to have a drink. It's
okay. Is that law?
A tradition that I have not endorsed or promoted, I must add.
What's that one? I've got Smokehead, I've got Cabochen. I've started on the other side with a Murray McDavid, a Glencairn, and a Balblair. Balblair I picked up this weekend, actually. So
we need to get a rare find thumbprint one for you.
I know.
Is that a thing?
Do you have them badges?
No, it's not a thing yet, but I've just thought about it right now.
Merch.
You're going to write it down.
And then forget about it.
Whose thumbprint is it now that we're on to that? Is it your thumbprint?
So it's probably one of the most common questions we get. And it's just, I've been told it's a made-up thumbprint. So obviously we don't want anybody using a bottle to open someone's iPhone or something. So it's just a designer that's come up with the thumbprint. But yeah, it's the idea behind the thumbprint is every cask's kind of got a unique identity. So that's kind of where the thumbprint comes in. But when you were talking about trying to wipe it off and thinking it was an actual thumbprint, I've got quite a good story about that. So we had an email from a gentleman and he was just basically saying, look, really enjoyed the whiskey, but just wanted to let you know that when I took the bottle out, I had someone's thumbprint on it, and there was actually one on the front of the box and on the lid and on the back of the box, and I was like, there's maybe a pattern here. So anywhere it said our brand, it had the thumbprint, and I was like, how do I say to this person that that's our logo without being patronising? So I just said, oh, thanks for the feedback, or just to let you know, it's actually part of our product, like our brand identity. It's a part of the design. And he was just like, I can't believe I've actually took the trouble to email you about that. I should have really clocked that. And I was like, to be fair, you probably should have. After you see 4 or 5 of them, you're maybe thinking, what's going on here?
Maybe he had 4 or 5 drams as well.
I think that was maybe the trouble. Yeah.
Imagine that though, thinking, what a mocky hooer. Look at that, just fingerprints everywhere. Taking time to actually complain about that. That's funny.
Yeah. It's quite a common question though, whose thumbprint is it? I should come up with a wittier answer than just it's designed by a designer. I should pick someone. Maybe we can say it's Mike's. There we go. We'll start passing that rumour around.
Not increase whiskey sales. I was thinking, who's a famous Hibs supporter? One of the proclaimers. It's Charlie Reid or something like that. Do
they have identical thumbprints, you think? Is that how that works?
It's an amalgamation of
okay.
Others. That's what it could be. A rare. That would be a rare pair, though, wouldn't it? It wouldn't be a rare pair.
Yeah, true.
I mean, that's a bit fans only fans as well, though, isn't it? Hashtag rare pair. I think a little bit. It makes me think.
Isn't one of your tours called Rare Pair?
Yes, it is actually. Yeah, that's a good point.
I did not sign up for it. Is this actually being held on YouTube, or is this on OnlyFans? I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah, that is actually one of the tours that I conduct on a weekly basis. So, yeah. Whiskey and cheese, I might add, not only fans or fans. I think it should be fans. What is it? Is it only fans or fans only? Only fans.
What is it, Mike, again?
Oh yeah, Mike. What is it again? Sorry. That subscription you've got. Check your bank statements.
Yeah, only fans.
I see it. It sounds better as fans only, I think, but it doesn't matter. It's like grammar, whatever.
Yeah.
Anywho, back to the questions.
There was somebody asking about your photos,
yes,
Greg.
Yeah.
Ali Amot. I'm not sure.
You can't be trusting people's names.
I can't. I struggle with my own name sometimes. He's asking, good evening, Greg. Where can we see your pictures on social media?
OnlyFans. No, it's Instagram's probably I've got a website, but nobody ever goes to it. I pay, and every time the bill comes in for the hosting of it every year, I'm like, I don't even think anyone's ever been on that site, so there's no point in saying that. But on Instagram's probably the easiest way. So it's GDU Photography. That was my name on Instagram. But
you are going to get a flurry of followers tonight.
Yeah.
There you go. We've just written it down. Did you miss the photography, or is it just you're so busy now that things have changed? And
yeah, things have changed. I mean, it's never going to go away. I'll always, as I say, I was lucky enough to do quite a lot of landscape stuff as well, and I've done quite a bit of travel. I've randomly done photos for a company that tests AstroTurf. That's very niche, but I travelled all over the States with them, and Caribbean, Canada, even Moscow. Yeah, that was a great gig, and that was round about the time where the offer to go to work for Gleann Mor came around. So it was very much a crossroads to do I do this or do I do that? And yeah, I chose a kind of whiskey path, and I'm glad I did. But yeah, I do obviously. That was great traveling about and stuff. But I was a younger man then, and got a 4-year-old now. It's not practical, but I done a wedding last year in Greece. It was actually for the commercial director at work. Had said, "Oh, you've done weddings before. Do you want to do my wedding?" I was like, "Nope, retired from weddings, never doing another one." And he was like, "It is in Greece. I'll fly you over." I was like, "Cool. What's my flight details?" So yeah, there is the odd thing that comes up. But yeah, I mean, I'll always do it, even if it's just on a weekend or if we're up north, just get the camera out and stuff. But yeah, I do still get the bug to go and get the camera out now and again.
That's cool. we were just saying off air before Mike spoiled it all by going live. When I went to Leith, I was expecting it to look like a sort of vintage kind of Victorian kind of port town with warehouses and, you know, big double doorways and stuff. It was beautiful. I really enjoyed visiting at the weekend, but it seems very modern now. But yeah, I would just imagine it would have been a great place to take pictures of boats and whiskey back in its day. But I guess it's just different now.
There is still little bits you can still find. So like down at the shore, there's a couple of wee boats. I mean, they're commercial boats and restaurants and stuff like that now, but you on the right night and stuff. And that was one of the reasons I was down there that night when I took a photograph of that car was the year before, or maybe 2 years before. I took an image from round about that spot, and it was published in the Scottish Landscape Photographer of the Year for that year. And so that was kind of what led me to going back there that night, and was obviously chasing that kind of type of photo again. But you can, if you find the right spot in Leith, there's definitely still untouched kind of, you wouldn't know what century it was taken, and sometimes if you get the right light and there's no cars around with the kind of oldie streets down there. But you're right, it's become a bit of a mix of kind of modern, any vacant lands getting kind of turned into commercial or residential properties that are maybe not as in keeping as some of the older bits, but there is still little gems about there.
Yeah, it's kind of a mixing pot of the old and the new, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a kind of mecca for whiskey, wasn't it? At one point,
Absolutely, it was one of only 6 ports at the time that had a license to export whiskey around the world. So it became one of the consolidation hubs for the industry at the time, and at one point had the largest warehousing for casks in the world at one point. So it really is, and that's something. My family's from Leith. I grew up down near kind of Portobello way, but my dad's family's from Leith, and then I lived in Leith for 10 years. And when probably up until I was about 30, I didn't even realise that the whiskey industry was so embedded in that part of, well, it wasn't Edinburgh at the time, but is Edinburgh now. That history was kind of not talked about. You'd have to go digging for it, but now it's very much celebrated, and you can see with guys like Woven and Port of Leith themselves. There's a lot of and SNWS being born out of there as well. It's starting to bubble back up again, and even the amount of whiskey bars that are popping up, and not just whiskey bars. I'm talking about some of the class leading whiskey bars in the country now are in Leith, in my opinion. So it's great to see that kind of history being celebrated again, and that's kind of a lot of our brand ethos, especially with the like Whiskey Row and the Leith whiskey. That's all a celebration of that past that was kind of forgotten about. But where you work at the weekend, pretty much all the buildings down that area that lead up to the Port of Leith distillery were warehouses at one point, and they're all restaurants and bars now. And a lot of people have walked past it and not know that that's kind of what was there. But all the bottling halls were down there, and the glassworks that supplied a lot of the industry, the Leith Glassworks, was based down there. So yeah, it's certainly something that was forgotten about, but it's being celebrated now.
I think it is, because when I was there on Sunday, and then I had a group of people at work on Monday at the distillery, and we did like a bespoke kind of food whiskey pairing for them. But they had literally been there. It was like a smaller cruise ship, and it had been docked literally just in the stretch of water down at Leith, and then obviously they'd come up to Aberdeen the next day, so we'd be in the same place at the same time and not even realised it. But they'd obviously gone to the distillery, and they'd learned all about the history of Leith, which is really cool because it goes back to like the 12th century. Like literally, wine and sherry, like Bordeaux and sherry and sort of port was coming into Leith and sort of being put into bottles that were being like built, but like I don't know how do you make a bottle made in Leith and then kind of shipped around the UK. It's a fantastic history. Yeah. But it does feel like it's only just now that we're starting to speak about it. But I don't know what the change is, whether because more people in the industry are based in Leith, or I don't know. Because sorry, Mike, you're like beeping away like we're going up to NASA.
Yeah, Gleann was getting. He's now turning on and off the monitor, the camera, the plug.
That's funny. He knows how to work it all. Yeah, we can hear him. That's cute.
Well, his chat's better than mine anyway.
Not at all. He just wants to be involved. He's like, I haven't had my appearance tonight. I want my see.
There he is.
Oh, I can.
He's still wide awake.
I can see
Yeah,
him.
oh, absolutely. He knows his mom's not here, so he's decided he's going to cause all kinds of mayhem in his cot. I could hear him, and the plug was going. I was just like, oh, for God's sake. But he's not crying, which is good. And I can mute him as well, which is even better.
How is he at holding a bottle of whiskey while I take a photograph?
I was just about to say, I haven't quite got him yet with a 70C. I mean, one of these guys, absolutely no problem.
Maybe.
Yeah, we're talking about glass there. I was going to tell you my fun fact for the day.
Have you been listening to your podcast again?
No, this is not a podcast. This is a research one. Do you know why we have 70cl bottles? I can't remember if I've told you this or not.
I don't think so.
So it goes back to 1700s when people would recycle their own bottles, and it could be ceramic or it could be glass, and they would go into the shop with their bottle and you would pour straight into the bottle and off you go. Mainly wine, but as popularity grew, more and more whiskey was getting poured, but they didn't know what to charge on kind of duty or tax because every pour was different. So the government decided they needed to have a standardized bottle. So they sent one of the excise men round all the glass blowers in London and just said, we need you to blow us a bottle. And it was the average lung capacity, because you blow a bottle in one breath. So it was the average lung capacity of a glass blower in London at the time was 700 mil or 70cl. So that's how they determined that was the size of the bottle. So there you go. Fun fact of the day.
How amazing that it was exactly 700 and not 694. I'm glad it was a nice, easy
guess
number.
there was a bit of artistic license on the average.
I feel sorry for the guy that at the end it just couldn't make it. He got like 500. He's like, well, okay, we'll go with 700, but I'm not going to be working for the next 6. I mean, 700 is good, but 500 is fine.
Yeah. See, when I release my next range of whiskey, I'm going to do 500 mil, and it's nothing to do with the fact that it's going to be cheaper and I'll get more bottles out of the cask. I'm paying homage to that one guy who just couldn't blow big enough.
Yeah, Rick says it's because it was just a mess with the Americans, because we've got a different measuring system, don't we? They're all
750. Are you over in America, Greg? Have you got shipments out? Or do you export?
Yeah, we've done a little bit more on core products. We've not got rare find there yet, but that's a work in progress. But yeah, some of our core products are over there. We sent quite a big order out there last year. It's not obviously to the whole of the States. That's getting into a few is a feat within itself. So I think we're in 7 states with some of the core products, and then we're just looking at other options for rare find and stuff. I'd love to see it there on a personal level. That was kind of something that I set as a personal target to see it. Not that it might be someone else that achieves it, but I would just love to see the brand over there, because I love America. I had a lot of time over there. I've got some friends that have got some cool whiskey bars and stuff over there. So it would be nice for me on a personal level to see the product over there. It'd be a nice wee nice thing to achieve. But yeah, it's an amazing market for Scotch, and obviously, if they needed someone to go over there to host a tasting as well, I would certainly put my hand up for that.
Big Pour on YouTube has put a comment. Mike's 50cl. He's got a name for it. We're going to call it One Lung. Good.
That's good fact, though.
Yeah, America would be great. And I think, but it is tough as well, because you've then got to look at, is it going to be an American-only cask? Is it, because you don't want to dilute your customers in here at the same time? I guess it would have to be a specific...
Yeah, I mean, that we're fine with that. I mean, we can do. We've got stuff going to Australia. We've got Canada. So we do send stuff, and we can do market exclusives as well. I think that's a sensible way to look at things. It gives that market something to focus on for themselves. But you're right. When some of the stuff we're dealing with, maybe 100 or a couple of hundred bottles, by the time you've satisfied the UK retail, there's not much else to go around. So it's creating a market specific offering, I think, is the key. And we've got the capacity to do that now. So that's definitely something we're working towards.
I think with America as well, though, and I just know this from just the distilleries, like there's only certain, not for everybody, but obviously the guys in the chat have got a broader spectrum of like knowledge about whiskey, but for a lot of Americans, they're very familiar with a couple of key big brands like, Glenlivet, like Glenfiddich, Macallan and things, but some like kind of maybe the lesser known brands are not so sure about. I guess as an independent bottler, if you're shipping over brands that maybe are not as mainstream as the big ones, it maybe be a harder sell for you guys.
Well, I've always said that if you're an indie bottler and you're struggling to sell a single cask of whiskey, whether it's over one market or several, you're probably doing something wrong, because there's going to be 300 or 400 people that would probably be interested in that. You're just not focusing it in the right direction, or you've maybe not, the stewardship of the spirits maybe not been right. So I think, that there's always a way. If you find the right consumer, you'll grow an audience naturally. I think if they're drawn towards your kind of core beliefs on how you put spirit out or whatever.
Yeah, I think Rick might be your spokesperson as well. We'll get Rick to market yourself over there.
Yeah. Get a sample over to Rick. He has his own podcast as well.
He does.
Cool.
The Whiskey Zone. So check him out.
I haven't seen a video for a while, Rick. Or maybe, I don't know, it's algorithms, isn't it? Maybe I've just not seen them, but I haven't seen you do a little video for a while, Rick.
I'd love to get back to San Francisco as well, so maybe I need to speak to Rick. It's a great part of the world.
Whenever I think of San Francisco, I always think of the movie The Rock, when they have that car chase down the big hill. I think it's absolutely bonkers.
And the wee green marbles.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The bath bombs.
Yeah.
Pop up in a meme now and then. So you guys have got a new range awaited to come out, or has just been launched? Anything exciting that the guys can look out for?
Yeah, so that goes. It's live now, technically, for our retail partners. So for anyone who doesn't know, we don't retail the bottles ourselves. We sell through specialist retail, likes of Inverurie whiskey shop. So we've released the sales kind of pack to everyone, and it's available for order. It's being shipped at the beginning of next week. So yeah, that's live, and the Q3 release for this year will actually be quite quick after that. That's going to come probably end of July. So there's going to be a lot of drams to pick through for anyone who's interested in our range. But in the next outturn, in our Q2, we've got an Imperial. There's not many, there's only 70 bottles. So we've got a 34-year-old Imperial in there. We've got a 30-year-old Raw Stew, the old Raw Stew spirit from Loch Lomond. We've got a Milton Duff, 15 years old, and a 12-year-old Royal Brackla. So as we always try and do for anyone who sees our releases, is we try and have something at the kind of lower teens, and then the sky's the limit at the other end for kind of where the age statements go. But it's not really, we don't go chasing age statements. It's just if the spirit's ready, we put it out. But I try and always have a kind of balance in there, so there's it's different sides of the market.
Absolutely. And we've got, well, I'm not sure, we've got a fair collection of you guys in the shelves. I love the spirit, and I love kind of you've kind of got a great mix, not just of the age, but of distilleries that people are kind of familiar with, and then like Tam Do in single cask or indie bottling isn't common, but as a distillery, it's not unknown. So you've kind of got that hook there. We've got a Mortlick and a red wine cask, which is banging. So we've actually put together. So our customers have snapped up the online version, but we might be swayed to open up a few other tasting packs for that, where we've got, it's about 153 years of mature spirit from you guys, starting with 16-year-old Ben Rinnis, I think, going up to this Tam Do 20-year-old. Then we've got 28-year-old Gleann Mor, 26-year-old Longmorn, I think, 34-year-old
34 blends, yeah.
So I am so looking forward to that. We were making up the tasting packs yesterday, and just the smells coming out of these bottles. They just, you could just.
I have literally just looked up the Mortlach in the red wine cask on the shop just to see if you still had any. I'm like, whoa, that sounds nice.
Yeah, it's so good. We opened, but it was this time. We opened for Speyside tasting that we did a couple of months ago. So we're doing a run of tasting series. We're doing a run of tasting series where we look at the individual regions, and this was pretty much far and away the favourite of our Speyside, and that was up against a single cask 20-year-old Glenlivet as well.
I'll take that.
This was it's fantastic, but I love as well the way it took me about 3 times to read your drop, because you give us all the information in the cask, and we're like, they haven't mentioned sherry here, and I think I contacted you direct and said, is it sherry or is it Oloroso wine? And it's Oloroso wine, isn't it?
Yeah. So obviously, since the last time we spoke, one of the key things, and I put that in kind of the pack as well, which you've probably read through, but for everybody else's benefit, was just to explain to people where we are going as a business on terms of wood policy. So we very much, when we started out, like a lot of NDs, would just be, I would liken it to almost record shopping. So you're going through your samples, looking for something that's ready, and then picking out the kind of best ones. What my biggest focus over maybe the last 3 and a bit years has been trying to build our own wood policy, investing in and time and money into getting a good relationship around. So the Mortlach's a good example. So that was my first proper kind of supply relationship for first fill wood. So that was an Australian supplier, and that was the kind of first building block. Obviously, as a business, we need to have something in Spain for sherry and for non-regional wines like the Montilla Oloroso and stuff like that. So that was a key focus. As soon as COVID finished, in that January, the first thing I did was I was on a flight over to Jerez to meet a cooperage out there who we work quite closely with now, and also to set up a seasoning program actually in Jerez. So we do have a sherry seasoning program, which is, we're going to get the first parcel of casks in about 3 or 4 weeks. So I'm really excited about that. It's been a 24-month project. So we've got some warehouse space that we rent, and it's ours until we don't want it. But when we take these out, we're going to be putting new casks in there again to be seasoned. So it gives you an idea of where we see the kind of longevity of our wood program in the business. And since then, we've added a supplier in Kentucky that supplies us with first fill bourbon as well. And we pick around other kind of specialist casks where we can. We've got rum casks from Foursquare, and we're allowed to talk about that. We've got a good relationship with them through someone else. They put us in touch, but they liked our focus on wood, and were happy for us to mention them. So it just shows you the kind of where before we were kind of going through other people's stuff and picking the good stuff, as I say, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's where we started. But now I want, as a spirits manager, I want to have control of the onward journey of that spirit, and that's not. We don't just finish for the sake of finishing. You'll see that from most of our outturns. There's probably a refill hogshead in there. There's sometimes nothing better than a well-aged spirit that's been in a really good refill hogshead that just it's a spirit character led. But even with all this new first fill wood, which is very impactful in terms of flavour, you'll see from the finishing periods that I've given. So the Ben Rinnis is a great example. That was only a 6-month finish, because I don't really want to blow the spirit out of the water with a finish. I love a sherry bomb as much as the next person, but I try to be as sympathetic as I can to the actual core distillery style. There will be the odd sherry bomb in there, because who doesn't like that as well? But the main ethos is to really marry that wood management with the quality of spirit, because there's no bad whiskey. It's just some of them are coming in tired hoggies that just need reinvigorated. They've not had the best start in life in terms of impact of what the wood can bring. But it's just guiding that, and that doesn't mean an aggressive finish for me. In an ideal world, if I could wave a magic wand, I would have juicy second fill casks to work with across the board. But to get to that and to have provenance on our wood, we have to have these kind of direct relationships. That was a really long answer to a very simple question, which is it sherry or is it not? So yeah, that supplier who we deal with in Spain, that cooperage, they supply us with casks from within the triangle and without for us to pick through. So
yeah. I I loved Kat's expression there when you were saying, "Oh, who doesn't love a sherry bomb?" Kat's a bourbon girl. She's very much a kind of American oak bourbon.
I don't love a sherry bomb.
She's not about
each to their own. Yeah, I mean, we've got, that's the thing. You don't want to shut anyone out. So there's plenty to come in terms of the bourbons as well. So we've got a good relationship with the guys that we deal with in Kentucky. So there'll be plenty.
Definitely more open to it now, though. Like I have been won over because Mike got me to try things before, and I think sometimes if you've got an idea in your head, and I can't remember who we were speaking to, but we're saying this about wine finishes as well. There's like this kind of, as soon as you say wine finish to people, sometimes people say, "Oh, I don't like wine," and straight away they think, "Oh, I'm not gonna like the whiskey." So I think I'm definitely more open to trying different sherry. It just, as soon as people say sherry bomb, I just think, I'm not gonna like that. It's just gonna taste like sherry. And I don't dislike sherry, I just like whiskey more. So I like to taste the character of the spirit. I don't just want to taste food and sherry. But then saying that though, I absolutely love Williamson, the Woody's one, and that's just like a massive sherry bomb. So I guess it just depends.
Yeah, that's a great drum.
It is, it's super fun. Yeah.
And I guess as well, and I hope the guys at home agree, is you should never write up a whiskey just because of the cask.
Exactly.
No.
Because it's going to absorb differently. And we don't know the full story. As you say, we don't know the full story of that cask, where it's been, where it's come from, how it's got to that point. And it could be that you guys, maybe not yourselves, because you're starting up this, or you've got this kind of wood policy in place. But if you're a new indie, or if you're buying off a broker, and you think, oh, you don't necessarily have the full history of the cask. So all you know, it's a bourbon cask or a sherry cask. You're not going to know. So, and it was Dean when we had him on the Blether, the saying that Dean from Miami Davis. Sometimes you're getting a 12-year-old or a 10-year-old, and it's effectively you're getting a 10-year-old new make spirit. The cask has been that inactive that all it's maybe done is taken off the rough edges, but there's no influence of the wood in there. So you've basically.
I like that though.
Canvas,
it's a blank canvas. It's a good way to find the spirit, because you know the spirits still have development within the cask, and as you say, it'll have rounded off, and there's been natural changes within the spirit mellowing out and doing its thing. But the wood influence, you can then have the full decision on that. And listen, we're definitely building this wood inventory and wood management's key part to my role. But that finding gems from other people and doing trading, that's part of whiskey. That's never going to go away. And we're definitely still going to have casks that come along where, as you say, Mike, you maybe don't have the full history on it. But one of the ways I kind of approach it, I try not to look at the details on a sample. I just judge the spirit. So when I'm doing spirit assessment, I'll just pour the drams and I'll have the cask number and I'll just assess it as is, and then I'll see what it says it is, and I'll just, is it good? Is it a pass or is it a fail? If it's a fail, how do I take that to be in a liquid that's deserving to go in a bottle, or is it good to go now? And then I'll go and look to see what it is. Half the time I don't even know what age the spirit is I'm dealing with. I like to try and do it as blind as I can.
What sort of things do they fail on? Like, what's your sort of common problem that you would maybe try and kind of rectify?
So probably the most common would absolutely be lack of wood impact. But as I touched on there, that's not a bad thing, because then that spirit will fall into our wood program, and I'll steer it from there. If you pick up certain flaws within the spirit, they can be corrected. So there's things like, and this is part of my journey and the job I'm in. So not everyone's obviously got the same palate, and they pick up on different things. I was pretty blind to sulfur, and I've been pretty lucky that I haven't stuck out too many sulfury drams. But now we have a tasting panel, and I've made sure there's people on that are more sensitive to that. I tend to flag more, and this maybe shows in some of my tasting notes. I pick out the sweeter notes, the kind of pastries and the spices and all those kind of stuff is my kind of strong suit. So I've got to make sure I balance a panel with people who are more sensitive to things like sulfur and anything that could be deemed to be a flaw. And then I get everyone to try it blind, and I get gather information. I always laugh because I'll put a dram in front of someone now at work, and they just like, we don't even talk. I just give them a dram. They don't say, "Oh, what is it?" They'll just tell me their opinion, and I won't give them any feedback. I'll just be staring at them because I don't want to give a clue if I'm agreeing with them or not. So I just stand and stare at them. So it's quite weird. And then I just lock away what they're saying. I go back to my spreadsheet and I just tally it up and see what everyone's thoughts are on it, and just make sure we're all kind of on the same page before it gets bottled.
That's cool.
It's cool but creepy.
It is a bit creepy. Yeah, it is a little bit creepy. And I do try and throw, like, I've got a particular dram that's very sulphury, that's a sulphur control that we use, that I always nose during tasting before I go in to do the tasting. But every now and again I'll throw it back in to everybody when they think it's all new whiskies again, and no, there's a control in there. It's quite funny seeing, and they're like, "What's that again, isn't it?" And I'm like, and I just stare at them and never tell them what it is, but it's fine.
I guess it's like folk that are more sensitive to the aldehydes, isn't it? That's why people can taste soap instead of coriander and stuff. I think people's palates are more in tune to different flavor compounds.
Yeah, everybody's totally unique. Obviously, and it's something that I've absolutely have to work at. Like, there's certain conditions. If I'm doing my tasting notes, I pretty much put my earphones in. I'll have some kind of background music on. I'll ignore everybody. I'll go into the wee lab bit and I'll just do it. I find if the other people are chatting and stuff, I need to spend time with the whiskey on my own to do like proper tasting notes. If it's just a tasting, that's fine. But if I'm doing the kind of official notes, I kind of just lock myself away and do that. My sister's a great example of her nose is amazing. She doesn't drink whiskey. She just won't drink it. And you could give her a whiskey and she'll be like, "Oh, that smells like seaweed and kippers," and like just straight off the bat, like, can tell you exactly what it is. In terms of what you would expect to get from that dram. Everybody's different, and I'm definitely in the camp that I've got to warm my palate up, I've got to work at it, and it's like a muscle, as a lot of people in the industry would say. I've got to keep drinking drams. That's my excuse at home. I'm doing homework and researching. So yeah, it is something I've had to work at. But hopefully, with the drams in the bottle, I think I'm getting away with it so far.
Yeah, I think you're winning.
Definitely. So far, so good. I've yet to try that. Admittedly, I haven't tried them all, but I'm working on it. I'm getting there.
Dedicated to the cause.
Yeah, and I did like, and I remember, I think it was the previous outrun to this one that we've got on the shelves just now. And I texted listen, this is what I'm getting from it, and then you sent me your notes, and we were quite similar. There was some that were really. I mean, I think there was a couple that we were way off, but there was some that were quite similar. I was like, that was one of my proudest moments there. I was like, "Yeah, I've got it." And then you try something else that was completely different. You're like, "No, back to square one." But
that's it. We're both right though, aren't we? So because it comes down to your own palate, your own nose, your own experience. But you would expect there's commonality in a lot of whiskey, and the more you drink whiskey, obviously, the more you'll be expecting certain things from certain drams, and that's why I say I try to go into them all blind, because if I know the cask type or the spirit type, I'll probably already be looking for certain things. I'd rather just go into completely blind. And the other thing, other than the thumbprint question on the rare fine bottles, the most common thing that happens is I'll be at someone's house or at a party or at a festival, and someone will come up and go like that with a dram and go, "What's that? Tell me what whiskey that is." And I'm like, "Really?" Like, so that someone said to me years ago, always say the same dram, because at some point it will be that dram, like a core range something, and then just walk away. And because for that one or two times you get it right, you'll look like a legend. But yeah, it's always a fun one. I always give it a go, but I mean, it's nigh on impossible these days, especially with you've got a lot of peated whiskies in the mainland, where before maybe that wasn't maybe the case, and yeah, different cask types you wouldn't expect from different distilleries. It becomes more difficult to do that, I would say. But there's certain drams that I'm definitely tuned into just through experience. That Bruichladdich is one for me. I reckon I could pick that out of most lineups. It's just such a distinctive nose for me.
I always think Glenallachie is probably one for me that I could get that kind of toffee up, and I wonder if it's because I've been exposed to it from certainly since Billy Walker came on, and it's been a single malt in its own right.
Yeah.
That
I've
worked
that's
a lot
one that I have done. Speaking of Woody from Woodrow's, he came in. He does this quite often. He'll bring a sample in because he's in the same street as us. We get on really well. And he'll often bring a dram in and just say, "What do you think of that?" And he put a Glenallachie in front of me, and I straight off the nose, I was like, "It smells like it's an Oloroso cask." He was like, "Yep." It's like Glenallachie. He's like, "Yep." So I mean, it's very rare. I've maybe done it a handful of times, but one of them was Glenallachie. I would like to think I'd have a good shot at picking that one out now and again.
Is that the same? Is about the same time as you had a Glenallachie in the cask as well?
Yeah, it was a sister cask. Yeah, it was actually a sister cask. Yeah, so and I did put my ours. I love ours. I think it's actually behind me. I might have a dram of that in a bit. But I think Woody's edged it slightly. For me, for my personal taste. So he was quite happy to hear that. But his was more expensive, so you've got to balance it out.
You got a box for yours as well. So.
Yeah, true. And you're actually, I don't know if you know this, but in Edinburgh, you're never more than 3 feet away from a bottle of Woody's stuff as well.
Yeah,
there's always one cutting about.
They've been having great fun out in Isla by looks of things. I've been following all their stories.
Yeah, he sent me a wee message yesterday. I think he'll probably need a few jugs of water over the weekend and just resettle himself for sort of a new week.
I mean, that must be. We'll say how good a job it is in tasting whiskey all the time and getting cask samples and whatnot. But if you're on a kind of bit of a busman's over there, going Halley Racket, then you got to work again on a Monday morning, you're like, there's a new lineup of whiskies I have to try. You must just think, no, tomorrow.
Yes. You've always got to. I make sure my sensory days are usually during the week somewhere where it's not so close to like activities at the weekend or events. You want to go into it with a clear head and a clear palate if you can. So I try and not bookend an event with some sensory. It's not a good idea.
Are you still quite active in the gin festivals as well?
Not so much. I mean, it's funny because when there's different ways for businesses to get themselves out there, and festivals was never one for us with the whiskey, but now it is. I think we're plugged in for about 32 or 33 this year. So we've flipped it on its head from where we used to do it, and we used to do lots of gin festivals, and now they're kind of tailing off a little bit for us, but we still do the odd one. I'll probably not be at them, but we've got some of the sales team will be there. Like the kind of moving away from the photography, I'm moving away from that kind of thing. There's the odd festival, as I say, if there's a trip somewhere abroad, I'd definitely put my hand up. But we've got people who are better placed. We've got some sales people down south that can get closer to the London ones and the kind of north of England stuff. So yeah, I'm kind of disconnected from that a wee bit now. I'll get pulled out for the odd one, I'm sure. Maybe the Whiskey Fringe this year, with it being on the doorstep, would be a good one. And obviously anything up in Inverurie, I'd make the journey up there as well.
I remember last time you were up, you stayed in the house, and we had a great conversation about whiskey pairing. And you mentioned your tasting notes still leading to pastries, and we thought, I mean, we still need to get that done about getting a whiskey.
I wish we'd looked more into that then, because that was just before the heights of the Great British Bake Off. It was just kind of becoming really, really. I think it moved from Channel 4 to the BBC or the other way around, and it was probably the height of its powers. And I think if we pushed the button on that would have been quite fun. I don't know if I've missed the boat, but listen, I'm happy to explore that one. But yeah, I still remember it was a lemon sponge. Oh, sorry, Kat.
Sorry, this is a whiskey and pastry pairing, or is this a whiskey and cake pairing that you guys were organising?
Well, it was more just a concept that we thought because we liked both of those things, so we were just thinking of an excuse to how we could eat loads of food and drink whiskey. But we did have an Octomore with a lemon sponge, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Had Tony made it, or was it one that you just had in the house?
Okay, yeah. I think we got home from we did a tasting in the shop. And we got back to the house, and she just made this lemon drizzle cake, and we were like, that would go bang, because I think we had an Octomore after the tasting of the Saturn Drat, and we're like, that would be banging. And there was a few where we're talking, we rattled off a dozen, like blueberry. I think it was a blueberry muffin with Glendronach as well was in there.
Yeah.
There was so many good cakes, and just an excuse, like a G&T party, like afternoon tea, but with whiskey instead.
Yeah, you're making me hungry now.
That's an awesome idea. We could do like a summer bake-off with cake. I'm
Yep.
actually literally writing it down. Summer bake-off with cake. I
Don't
don't
you
like
go
cake.
stealing our idea now, Kat. That's
Shh. You're breaking up, Mike. I can't hear you.
Could you call it only flans?
I will be now. That's brilliant.
Oh no.
I bet they could. Oh, there must be so many combinations you could pair. Like
It's endless. I remember
Yeah.
speaking to Stuart Buchanan a while ago, and we were doing a cheese and chocolate pairing. But I think he'd done a tasting with us the week before, a Glendronach one, and I was just like, because we'd been conversing quite a lot, I was like, "What's your thoughts on this pairings?" And he was like, "Mike, to be honest, because it's easier to get, it's harder to get it wrong than it is to get it right with food pairings and whiskey, because chances are people aren't that interested in the food. They're there to drink the whiskey. And if you say that'll go with this cheese, they'll be, okay, we'll have that cheese as well, and they buy into it. Which I've probably just done a huge cop out to anyone who does like food pairings with their whiskey.
I'm a big fan of it. I'm a big fan even as a consumer. I've been to a few tastings with whiskey and cheese and chocolate as well, and I love it. I think it's great.
I do, and I think there's a level of right, and then there's a level of getting it bang on as well. It's if you got a couple of guys around at the house and you put in a cheese platter for them, they'll demolish it and it'll go well with the whiskey. But you look at guys like the Highland Chocolatier are making like really intricate flavors to go with the whiskies and stuff, and there's that's the next level. That's bake off kind of level. So just to cover my back for all those now saying I've just spent like 10 hours putting together this whiskey tasting with my cheese and chocolate.
One of the ones that jumps out to me when chocolate's mentioned was my friend had went to a tasting somewhere in Edinburgh, and there was a chocolatier in Edinburgh that I don't know if they still do it, but they used to do haggis chocolate. So obviously there was no actual haggis in it, but they'd taken the spices that would go into haggis into the chocolate, and it was paired with a Talisker 10, and it was absolutely incredible. Genuinely, it probably created one of the longest finishes I've ever had on a whiskey. I went to a football match and I was just sitting there for the whole game, and all I could taste was that. It just kept going round and round. It was just so good.
Yeah, I think it definitely, like, there's the combinations definitely work really well. And then I think it's just, sometimes flavors can end up fighting with each other and sometimes they can balance each other out. But I think it's probably harder to do it well. I think anybody could give it a go and have fun, and it works if it's, if you're having fun and you're enjoying yourself, of course it's working. But if you actually want it to balance out and be a pairing, I think it takes a little bit more work, I guess. But
I think it depends what you're wanting to get out of it as well. If you're sitting down, you're having 3 whiskies, 3 cheeses or chocolate, and people are going to be a lot more aware of what's going on. Whereas if it's a tasting with a 6, it's a bit more of a I guess I probably jumped into that conversation too quick without giving it due respect there. I'll apologize to any food pairing magicians out there.
It opens up the palate a little bit, makes it more approachable. So this group of folk I had from the cruise ship the other day, a lot of them had just signed up to it because they were coming onto the mainland and it was their chance to go to a distillery. And a lot of them didn't like whiskey. But as soon as you got them to try the whiskey, you got them to try the food and then put it together, like a lot of them actually I quite enjoyed the whiskey. Like I could see what was going on. I understood it a little bit better. And I think whiskey tastings can be a little bit intimidating if you're surrounded by a group of folk that really know their whiskey and know what they're talking about, and they're saying all these things like esters and like leather, and it can be like all you can smell is vanilla. Like you're not wrong, but it's still a little bit intimidating. If you pair it with food, it just kind of opens everything up and makes it seem a little bit more approachable, a little bit more understandable. So it just kind of it's just nice. It's a nice tool pairing it with food anyway. But yeah, not always as easy as maybe we make it sound, I guess. A Baby Bell and a Glenfiddich would work just as well as a.
I love a Baby Bell, so yeah, I'm on board with that.
Yeah, We're at the
Babybel,
stage where we're going to start introducing Killy into Babybels, and I cannot wait. I love them.
Nice.
And it won't be the dogs getting the scraps, it'll be me.
I just
So
like.
what's your favourite food pairing, Kat?
With whiskey?
Yeah.
I do whiskey and cheese quite a lot. So like, I do
With
enjoy
whiskey
that
or
because
food
like I
pairing,
love.
like ice cream and jelly, maybe?
No,
No,
definitely with
they should
whiskey,
never-
yeah.
Ice cream and jelly should never go together. It's the most disgusting thing ever. Like you should never do that. But no, that's up there with like how much I hate aliens. You never put whiskey and cheese together. No whiskey and cheese, ice cream and jelly. Whiskey and cheese you put together.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say whiskey and ice cream. Is it? Well, that works as well, actually.
Yeah.
Quite a few distilleries have an ice cream, don't they? When I went out to the Isle of Gia, they had a handmade ice cream, and it was hand-foraged brambles with Blether. And it was really, really yummy ice cream. That was lovely. But no, whiskey and cheese I do quite a lot, and I love cheese. So I think you've got such a big range of different cheeses to work with whiskey. It's always good fun. But what did we do the other day? We did different types of it was like, because it was a cruise ship, we did different types of Scottish foods. We did salmon, we did venison and stuff. It was quite fun to play around with. But yeah, no, there's a lot of different. I've not played around with whiskey and chocolate that much, to be honest. But only because I work for a distillery doesn't really make a sweet whiskey. I think, I don't know, Glendronach seems to do chocolate quite well. So it's not something I've played around with that much.
Yeah.
What about you?
I like Auchentoshan is really nice with a fruit and nut chocolate.
All right.
I can see that.
Works really well. We used to do that when we first started doing tastings. Cheese and chocolate was quite a regular thing that we did, and it was always Auchentoshan with
Fruit and nut.
fruit and nut dairy milk. Just it was really nice combo.
The girl from Bruichladdich does whiskey and crisps quite a lot, doesn't she? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Abby from Bruichladdich, she does
Abby.
whiskey and crisp pairings quite a lot.
Oh, wow. Sign me up for that.
Octomore and pickled onion. No, pickled onion Space Raiders. Because it was the cheapest of you're talking Space Raiders, Tangy Toms, Cheese Moments, these kind of
like
10p bags.
Yeah.
See, I'm a little bit of a crisp geek, and for me, there's a definite separation between corn snacks and crisps. I think they're two. It's like comparing two different spirits. They've got their own category. I'm not saying one's better than the other, but for me, they live in different worlds.
Yeah, you're talking like tatty chips and
Yeah.
See, I had this conversation not that long ago because I was speaking to somebody that was potentially writing a book about bars, like crisps and bar snacks paired with different spirits. And it's potentially, we might have this person on the chat. So I don't know whether they actually are going to write the book or whether there's like a conversation that I'm not meant to be talking about. But we got into that. It's like, where do you draw the line of like going from crisp into like corn snack, and then like we got into like nuts and peanuts and stuff, or like, is that classed as a savory snack? So yeah, it's quite
definitely a bar snack, savory bar snack.
Yeah, no, they definitely are, but we're just trying to categorize everything. But yeah, it's quite the hot topic.
Yeah. Well, I like, because if someone's like, "What's your 5 favorite crisps?" and you're bunching those two categories together, then you can only pick 5. But then if you split them, you can choose 10. So that's kind of my thought process on it.
I feel like this is a question we need to ask now. What is your 5 favorite crisps?
Wow. Right. Okay. I'm sure all the people tuning in for Whiskey Chat are going to love this. I mean,
what would you
chips. Oh, here we go. So I'd go for the sweet chili kettle chips, the ones in the red bag. They'd probably, for me, I'd probably go for Highland Park 12 with them. For right or for wrong, you'll just have to accept that that's my choice.
Just accept it.
Yeah, it's my choice, and I like them all. Top of the corn snacks, probably. I'd probably have to go for Tangy Toms. I think Tangy Toms would edge it on the corn snack chart for me. In terms of dram, I'd put with that. That's a toughie.
You have to be tomatin because everybody thinks it stands for tomatoes. I just can't think of tangy tomatoes.
Let's just go with that. Yeah, I was more thinking from a flavour profile. I don't see that. Don't see them sitting. But yeah,
Ardbegg's got that kind of tomato.
Oh yes.
Yeah, good shout.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, this sounds like we should create some sort of festival where people get to try this out. It can be a side tent to the OnlyFans.
Only Tangs. It's just tangy Toms.
I am writing down whiskey and crisp festival underneath summer bake off cake and whiskey. I've got a summer events coming up. I think that's like next week. Everyone needs to have their whiskey and crisp combo for us to start off the chat with. I think that's a really good. That's a really good question.
David's got a rosemary cracker, blue cheese, and onion chutney with Lagavulin 16.
Oh,
yeah, that's a good shout.
Best life. Rosemary cracker and blue cheese would be really nice together. What kind of blue cheese have you got?
Sounds like he shops at Marks and Spencer's to me. I don't think he's buying Space Raiders.
That's just Davey's all Marks. Since he got his bus pass, he just looks down on us all. Fancy shopping habits. Be interesting to know what kind of blue cheese he's rocking out. Whether he's a kind of stinky feet kind of blue cheese, or whether he's like a sort of Strathdown blue.
For Lagavulin 16, I'd be Roquefort all the way. Definitely.
Yeah.
In terms of I've been thinking, Chris, you remember Brannigan's did that ham?
Ham,
so
ham
good.
and pickle, or roast beef and mustard. And do you know what?
Roast beef and mustard.
They were my favourite crisp, and I googled them the other day because the Drum of Wortle used to be the only place I could find them, and they don't have them anymore, and they're discontinued. Both of them.
No way.
Yeah.
Proper crisp. That ham and those roast beef and mustard were the ones that they would.
They made your nose sting, but they were so good.
Yeah. But the ham and pickle with I would say like a sherry cask Colila or something that's got that kind of smoky bacon flavour. Just the best combination.
And then the corn snack would be Frazzles, surely.
It has to be Frazzles.
Yeah,
bacon fries, maybe.
Yeah, true.
So Doritos, they must be corn snacks then, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose they would be, wouldn't they?
Or tortillas. Is tortilla a different level of crisp flavour altogether, or are they corn snacks?
They fall into the shape category, so they're triangle snacks. So there's quite a niche market, but just triangle snacks.
What about Monster Munch?
Would be in there.
Monster
Munch they're just corn snack. Yeah, they're right up because you've got things like bikers and onion rings. They're all mad shapes, but they are definitely corn snacks. Through they're a bit lighter.
I'm loving the crisp chat. This is awesome.
Nobody signed up for this.
I did. I'm here.
Guys at home, we haven't forgotten you're there, and we do know we're live. Fire in your favourite crisp and whiskey pairings. We would love to hear. We've got Sandro jumping in from Italy. Ciao, Sandro. He says, "Good evening, Kat and Mike, and welcome, Greg. Cheers from a rainy Milano." I would love to. Oh, my thing's all knotted now. I'm not going to be able to see. Look at the lovely sunshine we have in Scotland. And now I've just broken my blinds, and you guys are going to have to deal with that glare coming in.
You're in quite a precarious kind of situation there with your bottles as well. Rick was. Oh no, where's Rick's question going? No, sorry, it's Big Poor asking. Where does a scampi fry fall in the category? What's it made out of? It's not just dried out little fishies, is it?
I think they're corn snacks. I'll be pretty sure they can't just be potato. It's been a while since I've had one, but yeah. I don't know. I've kind of set myself up as being some sort of snack expert.
Yeah, knickknacks. What are they? Do you still get knickknacks? They're weird.
Knickknacks are definitely a corn snack, I'm a big fan of knickknacks. The spicy ones are unreal.
But then,
I'm not the only one that misheard that, right? Yeah.
You hear? Wait.
You can watch it back, Kat. Scampi and lemon knickknacks, the ultimate. If there was a crisp that you could bring back that you don't get anymore, what would it be?
Roast beef and mustard Brannigan's.
That would be up there, to be fair. There's I'm going to name one that you probably can still get, but that I've just not had for a while. But I don't know if you remember, this is corn snack territory, but Blockers. Don't know if you remember them. No, they're like wee kind of American footballers. They were in a silver packet. They were 10 pence when crisps used to be 10 pence.
Yeah,
they were really good. I don't know if they still exist.
I had a picture of the guy with the American football helmet on.
Yeah. Blockers were good. And I can't remember what they're called, but the wee hamburger ones. They were like shaped like a wee hamburger. They were good as well.
Yeah, because you used to go get them from the tuck shop. If you've got like your 10p, you go down to the tuck shop and get your. Yeah. And then like you'd get your jacket in the playground, and everybody would pour all their crisps in, and you'd all just like share them out. Or maybe that was just us.
No, that sounds a bit weird.
Major not as commented.
Sharing sounds weird.
From a coat, from someone's jacket. It's just a strange medium to eat food from.
Better than the playground, though. That'd just be minging.
Yeah, true. I'm a big fan of it. And some people, you're in good company when you go to a bar or a pub and someone goes to the bar and comes back with 4 or 5 bags of crisps and opens them that way that you tear it down the side and everybody's just invited to. Nobody exchanges any words. They just know that that's an invitation to share these crisps. That's basically the best thing in the world.
It's like Scottish tapas.
I'm going to do it from a jacket next time and see what people think. The tangy toms are in the hood. The left sleeve has got Brannigan's in it. There's peanuts in the right sleeve. Sorry.
And then onion rings in the pockets. Can you just put your hand in and come out with like fingerfuls of onion rings?
You're never getting that smell out of the pockets either afterwards. You just have to sew them up.
And that orange powder, every time you put your hand in for a hanky, you just come out with like that orange powder over your hands.
We've definitely gone off piece with the chat. I don't know if it's usually goes down this kind of rabbit hole, but
we're getting a reaction. We're getting a reaction from the guys at home. Major Nut has said, for some reason, I cannot eat crisps and then drink whiskey. You don't have to do one before the other. It's a combined effort. So, but it destroys the whiskey for him.
No. Okay.
I can see if you maybe just haven't found the right pairing yet. Stick at it is my advice to Major Nut. Sandro agrees with him. What kind of crisps you get in Italy, Sandro? Tell us what kind of flavors, because I assume I have no idea. I am completely out with the UK. I am crisp blind to what snacks are available.
They call them like potato chips or something. Maybe like they wouldn't know what we mean by crisps. Like potato chips maybe would be what they would call them or something. I don't know. I mean, I think they like good quality food in Italy. Maybe like crisp is not something they would discuss around the table. But I could be wrong.
Sandro's sitting with his mum in the corner. He's just like, "Oh my god, I can't believe they're talking about crisp."
The Golden Wonder Bolognese ones aren't going to go down well then, are they? That special edition one that they've done.
No, definitely not.
Tim Powells has said skips and any whiskey.
That's a good shout.
Yes.
It's a solid corn snack right there.
That is. Did they not come out as top when they did at the shop, Mike? You did the wine and crisp tasting. Was it not Skips that came out as a favourite?
I think it was Skips that won that. Yeah.
Yeah, because they kind of just melt on your tongue a little bit, don't they? It's like fizz on your tongue.
And the prawn cocktail as well. What's not to love about prawn cocktail?
I hate prawn cocktail. I'm sorry.
You're going to hate Tim Powell's next comment. Tim Powell's has said salt and vinegar fangs. I don't remember fangs, but giant prawn monster munch. Wow.
I didn't know you got that. Like giant, like what, giant prawn shaped or I need to know more. Like just like they look like giant prawns or they're big monster munch.
Is that what a giant prawn looks like?
That's what giant prawns do. I lived on the West Coast. I know a lot about crustaceans. Like, you have to work with me. I don't remember.
Is your knowledge just prawns or is it only clams?
Oh.
Nicely done.
Oh, I love it. There's bound to be an only drams podcast or something out there, isn't there? or
I
page
love
or
how
something.
we've shoehorned Mike's OnlyFans fetish into the conversation so many times tonight as well.
How is that? I've mentioned it once.
Well,
Oh,
Mike, I
right.
think everyone can watch it back where you were pretty confident about the nuances of it at the start. You were giving
He
us
was
your
very
inside
confident.
knowledge.
I can't even remember how we got into that. It was a name
Well, yes, you
for.
can't remember mentioning it now. Well, yeah, like you couldn't remember watching it.
No, I
I'm sure.
remember. I remember mentioning it. I just don't remember the content of
We
Yeah,
mentioning.
you
have to
deleted the
say,
history there, Mike.
This chat is not getting recorded. It's not going back online. So
we
we're
have to
going
say
to
hello
end.
to
We've
Ross.
got.
I was just going to say,
Oh,
because
hello,
Ross
Ross.
messaged earlier to say that, well, he messaged earlier to say that Greg is his favourite person in the drinks industry. And I did tell Greg this, but it was before we went live. So, hi, Ross, who is now schmoozing with like Sam, I can't say his last name, the hot one off Outlander.
Ewan.
And who? Ewan.
Is it Hugan?
Hugan? I don't know. Who cares? Like, as long as he's got a shirt on, do we actually care what his last name is? And
He's worked with Ross, so his career is definitely going to go skyward now.
exactly. So, Ross, you have to remember that we were one of the first people to secure you on the Blether. So did we make you, or is this just part of your progression? Like, will we ever know? But yeah, it's nice. It's nice to see you.
I wonder how famous Ross was before he came on the Blether, and look at
I
him now.
wonder.
There's definitely an upward spiral there.
I used to be able to send Ross a message and get an answer. Now I've got to go through his agent.
Change days. I know. That's
I
what
know,
the
Get
I know.
on Sam and say, "Hey Sam, is Ross with you? Can I speak to him?"
Ross, if you're still watching, let us know what your crisp and whiskey pairing combination would be. And that's what the chat's been for the last 45 minutes, I would say.
Pretty much.
I was going to end it with Big Pour, who's coming from Northern Ireland. It has to be Tato, cheese and onion. Great crisps. I love Tato. And I love the way that they even spell it. So you have to put on an Irish accent when you're saying it. You can't say Tato. You can't not go Tato.
Are you sure that's an Irish accent? Are we sure about that?
Oh, yeah. It's my my OnlyFans
Sounded a bit
profile.
more Fife accent there.
An Irish. I moonlight as an Irishman on OnlyFans. I'm pretty sure I've nailed it.
That's your disguise. You just turn your cap around the other way and put on an Irish accent.
Never know. It was me. Never know.
I have not heard of those crisps. I'll have to try them out.
Have you not
So
heard of
Dave, no, I
Tato,
haven't.
Tato.
Do we still get them here then? Or are they?
I think they're the only crisp you get in Ireland. There's like they don't allow any other crisps to be sold in Ireland apart from Tato crisps.
I'll have to look out for them. That's cool.
Ross is saying Greg is my agent. He's having you on.
You still need to pay that invoice, that 10% for all your work you've done this month, Ross.
He's disappointing. You can't. His prawn cocktail walkers with a waxy climb leash.
What's wrong with everybody? Like fish crisps. Like, why would we have fish flavour crisps? I don't get it. Anyway,
you still get the fish and chips one, the fish and chips crisps. You still get those? They were banging.
You used to get.
Yeah, you still get them. You still get them.
But are they not like bread based, aren't they? They're not crisp. They're not Tato or corn. I think they're bread.
Do you reckon they're bread based? Maybe. I would have automatically just put them in corn snack. Maybe you should try prawn cocktail out of your jacket. That might be the thing you're missing, Kat.
Maybe
you've just not had it served up correctly.
Do you know what? After this, I'm going to get my coat and a bag of prawn cocktail crisps. And I'm going to sit on the floor. I'm going to do it right.
Down to the Drummel Wortle garage. Fill your pockets full of all the crisps you can get.
Well, I need a whiskey suggestion, actually, then. If I'm doing prawn cocktail out of my anorak, then I'll need to put a whiskey with it. But, yeah, I'll give it a go. I think Dave's having port soy with Sensations Thai sweet chili crisps. That sounds good as well, actually.
Yeah.
That sounds a nice combination. They are good crisps as well.
A good whiskey as well. The new Glenglasser range, I think, is such a step up to what they had before. And I was pretty happy with what they had before. But the Port Soy, 9 and 12-year-old are really, really good.
Yeah, I love the Sinine. I think I've got a bottle of that. So maybe I'll do Sinine in one pocket and Scampi Fries in the other pocket.
If you've got waterproof
Sort my
pockets,
night out.
why don't you just pour the whiskey in and then dip the crisps?
That could be a whole new type of enjoyment. You can't do a corn snack dipping though, because they would just dissolve. You'd have to be a crisp.
Mhm.
You could,
It'd be like
Yeah,
instant
no corn snack is surviving a dip into whiskey.
no.
I saw a McCoy's and a whiskey's fine. You could leave that in for a couple of minutes, I reckon. That'll pass
At
the
least a
dunk
day.
test.
It would definitely. Yeah, you could just use it for
Yeah.
scooping out whiskey. That would definitely. McCoy's what's the green one? The sweet. They would do a sweet chili one. That's really good. I like that one.
Yeah, the Thai sweet chili. Yeah, they're good.
I always get that in a meal deal. They're very,
I
very,
can
very
tell you
good.
That's my
another
meal deal to go to as well.
McCoy's if you want it.
What's that, Mike?
I can tell you another wonderful fact about McCoy's if you want it.
I was just all like.
That's why we're all here. That's the only reason I'm here, Mike.
Yes.
We've gone full
Crisps
circle.
chat.
Crisps back at, well, it's kind of where they get the name because you know that McCoy is known as the genuine article, the real
Yeah,
McCoy.
real McCoy. Yeah.
So there was a smuggler in Canada. It was Jake or John McCoy, and where during Prohibition, obviously America was an importing Canada's sales kind of went up of Scotch and whatnot, and so he would buy in Scotch whiskey, British gin and whatnot, and smuggle it into America. So when they opened the crates in their Prohibition bars, took out a bottle, realised it was genuine Scotch, they would raise a toast, and the toast would be to the real McCoy, to Jake McCoy, as celebrating the fact that they've got the real Scottish malt over there. So that's why the term, the real McCoy, means genuine article.
That's cool.
So there you go.
That was the biggest setup to like a whiskey fact ever. Half an hour of chat about crisps.
Half an hour
to get
of
that
crisps.
moment. Yeah.
Just to shoehorn that little fact in. And yeah, I hope it was worth it.
It was totally. And you brought the chat back round. That was expertly compared. Well done.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Sandra's tried oysters with Ardbeg, Corryvreckan, Verity. Oysters and whiskey in general, I think, especially something saline and salty or peaty, is
Like a whiskey luge when you put it into the shell and do it all together. That's always good fun. I've seen a lot of that on Instagram this week from the Isla Festival. There's been a lot of oysters and whiskey by looks of things.
Was that Rossi's Instagram by any chance? Because I'm sure he was partaking in a bit of that.
Oh, potentially. I got so fed up of seeing every day out in Isla. I literally was just like,
Yeah.
I don't even care.
He's been there for like 17 weeks or something. Yeah.
Good fun though. It looked like they got good weather this year as well. Although last year was hot, wasn't it? I haven't been out yet. I'll need to go out. It looked like really good fun.
I remember being in Isla for the Isla Whiskey Academy. Went to Ardbeg and they did a phenomenal experience. Probably the best experience in a single distillery that I've had. And we went out to the pier that goes out into the kind of out towards the Irish Sea. And they had a stand with some oysters. And do you remember they had the Kelpie? They took out the Kelpie release a few years back.
Yeah.
It was a really briny. It's to this day, it's the only whiskey that I couldn't drink out of a kind of shaped glass, because the brine and the salt just kind of overwhelmed it. I had to put it into a tumbler to drink it. Out of a tumbler, it was amazing. So anyway, we're out in this pier, and it was Leanne Kilmer's birthday. It wasn't her birthday, but she'd won a competition to go out. So Leanne Kilmer runs the Scotch in the Bayou whiskey podcast. She won a ticket to come over to the academy. So further celebration for her, she got to pull in this rope that was out in the pier, and she was pulling up a lobster creel. And in this lobster creel was a bottle of Kelpie that they'd kind of obviously pre-planted, but unbeknown to them.
It wasn't a bottle of Rosebank, was it?
It wasn't.
That was good.
That would be good. No, so they pulled out this creel, and it not only was there a bottle of kelpie, but there was 2 lobsters that snared just for that morning. And that wasn't part of the plan. They're like, maybe we should throw more arbeg into the sea to catch more lobsters. But that whole experience, and then we cracked open the bottle, poured it on the oysters. Just a phenomenal experience there.
That's cool. What happened to the lobsters? Did you get them for dinner?
I think they just got kicked back into the sea. No, physically.
Not actually kicked, yeah.
Placed gently without. But the tour guide kind of said, I'm going to have to tell somebody about that. And I don't think that was the plan. I'm not sure if they actually lobster catch at all. It maybe wasn't even their creel. They just thought, oh, this will be fun for a bit of theatre. And they're like, ooh, we've got lobsters.
Well, that's been a lot of crustacean talk.
Crustaceans and crisps.
That's a good name for a band, actually.
Definitely not a good name for an OnlyFans account. I don't.
There he is again, talking about OnlyFans again.
You're not going to get much followers. You'll get some followers, but they will be very niche.
That would be super niche.
What would you call it? A fetish? Fetish, yeah.
That's got Channel 4 written all over it now. Addicted to crustaceans and crisps.
Ross said his 17 weeks in Isla is called work, Greg. Somebody had to show the Islanders what they're missing.
I'm still waiting on my 10% for all of that work he did as well. Anyway, that's fine.
That's twice you've mentioned that. You're keen to get that.
Nah, I'm only joking. It's only 7.5%.
I think we need to catch up with what's in your glass as well. I think we've missed. I think you've both.
Yeah, I'm probably about 4 or 5. So I started with the Leith Rioja cask. Then I had a wee cask sample of an 89 Jura cask sample. Then I had the Glenallie 13 because we were talking about that. Yeah. And I'm now, I'm on. What am I on? I can't remember. No, I'm still on that actually. Still on the Glenallie. I've got a tiny bit left. But that reminds me, I need to pour my next dram. So I'll think about that. What are you? Have you moved on? Or are you still in the same one you started with?
Well, I was stupid. I only had 2 little bottles, like one little bottle sample with me, and I'm literally going to get up from my seat to go and find something else. I have to go down.
Can you not beckon your kangaroo? The kangaroo through with the pouch of whiskey.
I wish I could. That would be amazing. Imagine if I just clicked my fingers and an actual kangaroo just turned up and handed me a whiskey. Like let's aim for that for next week. Let me write that down. Train kangaroo. There we go.
We know what's going to happen. You're going to find a kangaroo uniform and get your kid to come in as a kangaroo for you, aren't you? You're going to do that.
I mean, I've got a 17-year-old and a 14-year-old and an 11. So I'm running out of options for William Bond.
I would pick the 11-year-old.
Yeah.
It's more your height.
Did you just say more of my height?
Oh.
Like, not wrong, but rude. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to have to go and find. So I did buy some more stuff from the Portalee distillery, but I would have to go over and get it. Mike, what have you got?
What a hardship. Look how far away your shelf is. Well, we spoke about Woodrow's, so I grabbed the... I've still got a wee bit left from last week's chat, the 15-year-old Deanston. From Woodrow's, I grabbed that one. And now I am on our shop exclusive from Murray McDavid, because we've been mentioned Dean a couple of times, and that was behind me. He's got
quite the shout-out this week, hasn't he? Yeah. I don't know what to go and get. I'm overwhelmed by my lack of choice, by my choice.
I was my next dram I was saving for the start of the Euros, but I'm going to pour it because I've had a couple of drams and it's sitting next to me. I don't know. You might have missed this one, Mike, because it was kind of COVID period and stuff. But we do the whiskey for the Scottish national team, and the first one we done was a 22-year-old Blether that was distilled the day after we left the World Cup in '98, and we bottled it the day of the fixture against the Czech Republic in the last Euros. So I'm going to have a wee dram of that. I've got maybe a couple of drams left, so that'll be my next one.
I think we had that one in. We did get that one.
I couldn't remember that if you had that in or not, but because of the Scotland license stuff, we don't usually put that out to retail. That's sold direct through website with the SFA. So you wouldn't have seen it. I don't know, maybe unless you snagged a bottle yourself.
No, it was a 25-year-old Bowmore we had from the tail end of
last year. So that's a sister cask, but the one we done during the Euros, that was the first time we'd done that, and we've actually got another one coming out. Shameless plug. I better get one in at least. We've got one coming out that we're bottling the day Scotland play Germany. So we've got a 25-year-old blended Scotch that's coming out that'll be bottled on the day of that game, which is a great wee dram. I've not got that with me tonight, unfortunately, but because it's still sitting in the warehouse. But one of the guys that works for us is from New Zealand, and he's volunteered to work that day because I think everybody else would have just slapped me if I'd asked him to come in on the day of the Scotland Germany game to bottle some whiskey. So he's volunteered to do it. To be fair, I think he's pretty quick. He'll be done before time the kickoff comes up. But that's my wee dram. So cheers.
Nice, cheers. Kat would volunteer to come down and work because she's not really. You're not a football girl at all, are you?
If you give me the day off the rugby, that's fine. But I'll work on the football. I try.
We couldn't have you in the bottling hall though, because your jacket will be full of crisps and it might taint the whiskey.
There would be literally greasy thumbprints over every bottle because I'd be covered in prawn cocktail crisps.
That would save us a fortune on screen printing. Actually, I think we've hit on something here.
I'll come down and I'll work the bottom line, but only if you supply me with crisps. That's what to do. Right,
and then every bottle will have a different smell of different crisps from what you were eating that day. You can smell it's like a scratch and sniff thumbprint. I think we're definitely onto something here.
Remember scratch and sniffs? Remember when that was the big thing?
That's your OnlyFans channel, isn't it?
I was thinking it, I just didn't say it out loud.
Yeah, I said it.
Scratch and sniff. God.
What if you just had people completely naked, but they only had a jacket on full of crisps, and then you sniffed them afterwards and guessed what kind of crisps were in their jacket? That would be a very niche fans only page. That's what we should do. Only fans only, whatever it's called. It's Naked Attractions meets crisps meets OnlyFans. I think we could work with that. They just gradually open their jacket and all the crisps fall out. And you've got to guess what kind of crisps are in their jacket.
We are definitely still live, Kat. We're still live. There's people watching this.
No, I think most people are with it.
No, yeah, very thankful that Kat only had one small bottle of whiskey.
I know.
This is where the mind goes.
This is why I don't drink, because it's not a safe place.
Dave Ferguson on YouTube has just said, "Okay, Kat, I'm waiting."
What, for me to fill my jacket with crisps?
I guess so. Let me know what you're waiting for, Dave.
Is Dave from Inverurie? Aberdeen. He's not really, because you know Martin Farquharson, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was just checking in case they know each other. But yeah, Martin's a good mate of mine. He's only, other than yourself, he's the only other person I've met from Inverurie.
Yeah, because we that came up quite early on in our friendship, didn't it?
Yeah.
That we both knew Martin Farquharson. So Martin's mum used to babysit me after school. Way back in primary school. And
do you think she, when you say babysit, do you think she had a monitor and she was just drinking in a different room?
In a different room, yeah, absolutely.
You've just carried that tradition on.
Yeah, I might have to give it a shout and say, subconsciously, maybe a bad dad.
Is the wee man falling asleep, or have you just put him on
Oh
mute?
yeah, he's gone. Like,
He's just switched the monitor off. That's a screenshot.
Oh, look at him all curled up. Is that a cuddly toy he's got?
that's Ewan. So he did fall asleep. That's Ewan his sheep. We bought that and it was white. You could tell it's not white anymore.
Is that the one that plays the white noise when you squeeze it? Like the sheep, not the child.
Yeah. So he's fallen asleep twice, but then lengthened and turned on the music and woken up because he's turned on the music.
Oh, we had the you and the sheep. They're good. Yes, I did say naked with only crisps as cover, but it was in context of the chat we were previously having. I don't know why people have picked this out like I'm the weird one.
I mean, you were the one that brought it up. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I think it might have been Mike. Like his
I wonder if I said that, they would still be waiting.
Well, I mean, like, was it Lady Gaga that made a dress out of like steak? So maybe you could just make a dress out of razzles.
roast beef and mustard.
Mustard Brannigans.
Brannigans.
Yes. Although don't go in for a hug though. Could you imagine what a mess you can't come away with after that?
Be careful where you put the mustard as well.
Oh, well, yes.
Oh,
it was
my.
whole grain mustard as well. It was English mustard, was it?
English mustard. Yeah, because it would make your nose sting if you had like a really big crisp. So, like
It did actually. It did.
Yeah.
Sandro has reminded us, or he hasn't reminded us, he's asked us. This will tell you where Sandro's from if you didn't already know. Does anyone recall who won the last Euros?
Was it Italy? I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, to be fair, I was supporting them that night based on who they were playing. Absolutely, in a pub full of English people in Edinburgh, of all places. But yeah, that was a fun night. And one of the streets in Edinburgh, Lothian Road. Oh no, was it Georgia? Yeah, no, it was the Bridges. There was just loads of cars going up and down with Italy flags, and we were all heading back out to our houses. It was a good night that night.
The Italians like their football, don't they? I dated in Italian for a while, and he spoke a lot about football. I didn't necessarily listen to it that much.
If they were better at rugby, they would like that too. But
well, yes, they're not that great at rugby, but good at many other things.
Yeah, I had to subdue my celebration for the Euros because Tony's obviously English, so I was dancing inside, but managed to stay poker faced and kind of.
So I'm taking it from the level of chat that the Euros things is a way to happen soon then.
Yeah, 14th kicks off on the 14th.
Two weeks tomorrow, isn't it? 2 weeks.
Yeah,
2 weeks.
2 weeks tomorrow. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. And we'll be winning things, right? Scotland's good at winning football. No.
Who cares about the tournament? There's a really nice whiskey associated to the game, so that's all we're worried about.
We didn't bring up this conversation for the football. We brought it up for Greg's whiskey that's getting launched.
Excellent.
Which I'm sure
we'll look out for that.
Going to be. It's going to be great to be there again. We were in the Euros last time, but it was all home nation, wasn't it? It was just 2 games at Hampden, a game at Wembley. It didn't just have the same carnival festival.
Yeah, you've got to be proper like away from Scotland to really have I mean, I'm saying that like I've been to a Scottish football championships. They don't. That's not really happening. I think I just turned 18 when we qualified for France in '98. So it's like, I mean, literally just out of school, didn't have the resources to go to a tournament, and was thinking, oh, it's fine, I'll go to the next one.
Yeah,
that didn't happen. So yeah, I've still not been to a tournament. So, but I've seen us thankfully through our relationship with the national team. I was there for us beating Spain at Hampden, and that was pretty special, to be honest. So I'll take that. But yeah, I'd love to go. I think I've earmarked. I hope my wife's not watching this. I've earmarked going to the States for the World Cup. I think that feels like a once in a lifetime opportunity. If Scotland get there, I think I'll try and get over there for that.
And that's a market scout trip. That
Exactly, it's work. Exactly, Mike. You've nailed it.
Well, if
We've
you
rounded
show
it off again.
15 minutes of the Blether, then she'll understand.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah,
show her the
your
rest.
wife.
For God's sake, don't
Yeah,
show her the
your
rest.
wife can watch it, Greg. Tony, Mike, your wife shouldn't watch it. I don't think.
She's my account manager. She set me up and everything. It was fun.
We should say that Rick's saying goodbye. He's off.
saying an arousing goodbye.
He's having an
Bye,
arousing
Rick.
goodbye. Thanks for joining, Rick.
Cheers, Rick. Thanks for joining us. We have Ross. Do you have any more Brackla casks? This is from Ross.
Ross is asking me.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, we've got one. We've got one coming out in the next outturn. Thanks for mentioning that, Ross. You must have got my text. No, but yeah, we've got more. That'll be one that's probably a distillery that we will be putting out some spirit from in the future, without giving too much away. But yeah, we do. Yes.
Cool.
Awesome. See, you can answer questions quick. Yeah.
Yeah. That one was. I mean, I'm 5 drams in, so my chat's thinned out of it.
Oh me. Yes, Ross, it has taken a turn.
Is there a distillery that you'd love to get hold, like spirit that you'd love to get hold of from a distillery you haven't done yet? I'm sure people ask you this all the time.
You can't say.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say Springback. No, one that's probably you don't see a lot of, and I'm just checking. Yeah, we don't have it there. I absolutely adore Pulteney, and we've been lucky enough to release one. But you don't see a lot of it around. I'd just love to have a warehouse full of that. To be honest, I'm a big fan. But yeah, try to think of one. What else? Maybe
he had some Pulteney just
did,
not that long ago.
Yeah, it was a sister cast tower one. So his was, in fact, I think maybe can't reach it just now. I've still got an open bottle of that. His 15-year-old. We put one out at 14. We've got more, but it's probably going to go a longer journey.
Sure.
But yeah, that's one that I'd love to have boatloads of. It's from a personal level, I absolutely love it. Actually, Balvenie would be a great one. You obviously don't get your hands on anything really on an indie scene from William Grant's. Is very rare, if at all. It's usually teaspoons. But yeah, I've got that was the dram that got me into whiskey, so I'd love to have some of that. Whether I could do it any justice, I mean, I'd love to have, like, obviously you're not going to, but a bona fide Balvenie would be amazing. I'd love to get my hands on that sort of thing, but yeah, that's a good one.
Nice. Yeah. I like Balvenie, and yeah, Balvenie for me, it sits in that category of if you go into a bar and you're not sure what you have or what you want, it's a good dram just to start you off. It just sets you in the mood. You can have it. You know you're not going to be disappointed. No, kind of really no matter what Balvenie you have, it's going to sit in that category where you can sit and you can have a browse at the bar, and if you're in the mood for something sherry, that'll tell you. If you're in the mood for some bourbon, it'll also tell you that as well. It's just got that nice kind of character to it. And it's a really easy, it's I would say out with the local drams, we sell more Balvenie in the shop. Glenallachie as well is a big seller, but Balvenie, people know it, and it's cheaper than Macallan, I suppose, as well, which is a big plus.
Some people actually, I think, would probably wish I hadn't had the Balvenie, because I wouldn't be sitting here tonight and they wouldn't have to listen about crisps. But that actual sliding doors moment of me getting into the whiskey industry, I can pin to an exact moment of having a glass of Balvenie, because up until that point I didn't like whiskey, and I had it. And I've spoken about this story a few times, but it was actually an American tourist who was a friend of a friend, that kind of strong-armed me into having a dram with him because he wanted a whiskey with a Scotsman, and he'd come to visit. He was in our house, and there was a bottle in the cupboard. It wasn't mine. It was a friend who'd left it, and I was like, I'm not really a whiskey drinker, and this was maybe 12, 14 years ago, something like that. And I poured one and I had it with him. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. and I joined a whiskey club the next week. So I think that there's an emotional attachment to that one. I think, yeah, so it would be nice to, so if anyone from Willie Grants is feeling sentimental and wants to send me a couple of casks, I'll be happy with it.
Well, we've got quite a broad audience, you never know.
Or send me crisps. I'm fine with that as well.
Ross has brought it up. We weren't sure if we could, but I'm going to ask it because it's been asked by the guys at home. I visited Greg's office for the first time about 6 weeks ago, and now I hear he's moving out. How are you feeling about the move?
Yeah, so there's a lot going on just now. So for anyone who doesn't know, the business started in Leith. So as we were talking about earlier, it was a massive hub for the whiskey industry, and it's where the business was born out of for us. And living there at the time, it was very it was everything. My whole life was kind of around Leith at the time, and I've moved away from Leith about 6 years ago, and now the business has evolved to the point that and we touched. I was speaking to Kat about it before we went kind of online, that the warehousing space in Leith is just gone. Anything that can be knocked down and turned into flats or is prime real estate now in Edinburgh. So a lot of the industrial sites are on other parts of Edinburgh. So we are now, it's taken a couple of years, but we've found somewhere in the kind of Hermiston Gate area. If anybody's not familiar with Edinburgh, it's on the west side of Edinburgh, where Leeds very much in the north. So we're moving a few miles away. But the move, I've been kind of project managing the move into the new warehouse. It's maybe 7 times the size of the 2 that we've got in Leith just now. But it's definitely going to future-proof the business. It's going to make our day-to-day operations a lot easier. But we'll always have a tie to Leith because that's where we started. A couple of our brands have got Leith in the name, and we sponsor the local football team there. Anybody who knows me will obviously know I'm a big fan of Hibernian Football Club. They're based in Leith, just over half a mile away from our warehouse, where the back of shirt sponsor with our, in fact, I might have a dram of this as well. Our Whiskey Row brand, which is our blended malt, is on the back of the Hib shirt. So that's one of the blends I look after. But yeah, we started in Leith. We'll always have a footprint there. But yeah, this is the start of a new era for Gleann Mor Spirits, and it's a big grown up business now. And yeah, we just need more space. So yeah, it's keeping me busy. I was offloading an Arctic lorry yesterday, and then today I'm sitting having a wee dram, and then tomorrow I'll probably be offloading more stuff there, and then I've got another tasting tomorrow night. So there's a lot going on just now. So definitely enjoying the wee break with you guys tonight.
Yeah, we were lucky to catch you. I guess it's just part of the Leith story, though, because a lot of your whiskey barons started off small, kind of blending whiskey, and then became, things like William Sanderson, Vat 69, kind of known around the world. So I guess you're just following that same kind of story with starting Leith, kind of getting a bit bigger.
Yes, I suppose we'd love to be thought of in the same breath as these kind of global brands at some point. But yeah, we're growing, we're evolving, and even just touching on the effort we're putting into our wood program, it shows we're in it for the long game. And I'm probably dealing with whiskies now and I love this about whiskey. I'm making decisions on spirit just now that I'll probably never see in my lifetime. So it's a nice thing because my crisp website's probably not going to live on after me. So at least some of the whiskey might.
I think it's going to grow arms and legs. We should say goodbye to Dave as well. Sorry, bye, Dave.
Yeah.
He said he's going.
Bye, Dave. Thanks for putting up with us.
You'll be in the shop Saturday. Dave, remember and bring a bag of crisps.
Yes, bag of crisps.
In your jacket pocket.
In your jacket. I'm sure somebody else put crisps in our jacket in the playground. I don't think it was just me.
It's a step forward on saving the world. You don't need plastic bags if you just sell jackets with crisps in the pocket.
Also, you're showing that you had quite a privileged background. You had a jacket when you were at school. I'm just saying, and that's quite a thing.
It came out of the clubby book though, like it was paid up.
Mine was when my mum had enough cigarettes that she collected the tokens for a free jacket.
We're all showing our age on this chat tonight.
Yeah. I've got 2 older brothers, so that's where my jacket came from. Hand me down 12.
You would have had old stale crisps in the pockets, ones you couldn't
Yeah,
even
just
use.
the crumbs. Just the crumbs.
Oh, what nonsense.
It is. It's absolutely, guys. I hope you enjoy our nonsense. We love talking it. I hope you enjoy listening to it as well. If there's anyone still watching with their questions, please fire them through, and we'll do our best. We spoke right at the start about your journey, and we spoke about the gin side of it, and we don't talk about gin much on the Blether. We've had a few guys mentioning or guests from gin distilleries. That Firkin gin was my introduction to you guys as a brand. I remember Graham came in, and he didn't pitch the whiskey, he didn't pitch the single cask or anything. It was the Firkin gin. And is that still something that's on the radar? Is it still something you do? Because I don't see much about it. But
yeah, I mean, it's still a product we still carry. It's part of our portfolio. You'll be aware that we maybe had one or two brands on the portfolio, and now it's probably up about 30 or something that we've got throughout the portfolio. So we're quite lucky. We go from rum to gin to vodka to whiskey. We're obviously whiskey predominant, but Firkin's still there. It's still a thing. We still have stuff doing its thing in cask. We still have product on the market. As probably anybody in the gin sphere knows, it's maybe that category's rationalised. People were saying it's tailed off. I don't maybe think it has. I think it's leveled off. It went through that boom. Beer done the same thing. I think rum's maybe going through a bit that stage just now. It's kind of happening throughout different spirits and different drinks. And it's a good thing because it provides the consumer with choice, and they'll ultimately tell you what works. So you could have 100 brands a day, which is what it felt like was happening in gin at the time, popping up. And the ones that have longevity and stick around, and there's certain markets. I mean, we done quite well in Poland, seemed to be quite a strong market. Firkin went out to, that was one of our core ranges that went out to the States. So there's definitely an appetite for it. I think it is a point of difference. And what I really liked about doing tastings with Firkin was it allowed me to talk about wood maturation with people who maybe weren't whiskey drinkers, and being able to put the naked gin in front of them, the base spirit, and then showing them that this Isla one and this dark sherry one, they're all natural colour, and the only difference between this one and these two, it's almost like giving a whiskey drinker new make and then showing them the journey. But being able to do that with a gin audience was kind of it blew a lot of people's minds. And then it was also allowed us to be really innovative and then move into a whiskey tasting. So you'd almost start with the gin, and then it allowed us to get to cask maturation point, and then maybe jump off from the American oak, the bourbon finish, Firkin into a whiskey, and then talk people through. So you could straddle two audiences, but it's all pinned around kind of wood influence. So yeah, it's an interesting product to work with, and I still think that from a mixology point of view, from a cocktail perspective, Firkin's really unique with what you can play around. Whether you do like a smoky martini with the Isla, it's an interesting kind of take. And some of the bars and the on-trade venues that have embraced it have been some of the more innovative ones that are looking for something a bit different. So it definitely has its place, and it's still around.
I just love it. We went through a lot, and the port. My personal favorite was the port cask. Guys who are watching will probably know I do love port cask whiskey.
Yeah,
but is it the Isla one? You had the Isla cask one with the Fentimans Rose Lemonade was just
that was pretty good. It balanced
good
really well. I think the challenge for just talking about the kind of the cask maturation at the time, the Isla variant of it was quite hard to get a consistency in, because we weren't always getting the same supply, because we didn't have a core range supply of Isla cask. So you were getting what we could get through the whiskey side of the business, and it was trying to find balance within that product. But the port actually was one of my favourites as well. So that was a North Highland 9-year-old that we'd had with a rare find that was port finished, and then we used that cask to do Firkin gin. Port edition, and then that cask actually went on to the guys at Campervan Brewery in Leith, which were our neighbours and still are at the moment until we move. They then done a sour beer in it. So I would have loved to have done a tasting where if we could have worked out who the supplier of the cask was, have some of the port, then that whiskey, then the gin, and then to really see the journey of that cask. That was something that we tried to do, but we just couldn't get the info. And we talked about that earlier. Sometimes you don't know, the bigger suppliers don't want you know who they're buying from their seasoned cask from, because it's a kind of protected relationship. So we could never bookend that off. I would love to have done that as a tasting, because it was, for me, it kind of blew my mind at the early stages of me learning about cask maturation.
Yeah, because you couldn't then, once the gin was out of that cask, you wouldn't be allowed to put whiskey in there.
No. So that was the natural end. I think we done two fills with the gin, and then it went. And at that point, we were starting to do, rather than just using a cask once and bottling it out for firkin, it's almost. I mean, I'm going to say we had a Solera system that's maybe extending it a bit too much, but we would keep some of the previous batch to round off the next batch, so there was a bit of continuity in there. Rather, that was more led by the Isla, but we used that across the rest in the end, because the variant of supply for the Isla was so different. But yeah, it was then as soon as we were finished with it, they took it down to camper van and done a sour beer. I never actually got to try the beer. I don't know. I think it was round about maybe COVID time. I don't know. It just kind of got maybe lost in the noise then. But it would have been nice to have seen that cask out. It's like, it's probably, hopefully now it's went to the final journey and become a planter in someone's garden or something, and you can go and visit it. Raise a dram.
That would be such a nice little. So you get the port, then the whiskey, then the gin, then the beer. And then just a little plant pot, little seeds that you can
in a port somewhere, in a little port.
Yeah,
that would be nice. Put a little plaque up.
Yeah.
Cute.
Alan Smith just joined us. Good evening, all. He bought a bottle of the rare fine Gleann Mor 14. Love that dram. A whiskey festival after trying
Good man.
Second dram, so much so he bought another bottle, second bottle. So compliments to Greg.
Yeah, so that's one of my favourite drams. I think I've put in, and I've been lucky enough to pick some really welly spirit stuff that I've picked the cask that was seasoned in, managed that part of the process. And it goes back to what I was saying earlier. Sometimes it's great when you find one that's the job's already done, and you've just picked it at the right moment. And that was an example of that. A 14-year-old Gleann Mor in a refill hoggy. And I just thought it was absolutely tremendous, spirit character led. And it was a total sleeper dram at the time when we put it out to retail. It maybe wasn't the shining light on paper, but the more we took it to festivals and people actually got to taste it, they were like, that's a great dram. And yeah, unfortunately, that's all I've got left of that one. That's gone now. But yeah, absolutely love that dram. So good to hear some feedback on that one.
I think, sorry, Kat, I was just going to do one.
No, it's fine. I was going to read it. I was just going to read his comment because he was just going on about how much he loves it. But no, you go on.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, he was 8 drams in, but it still struck a chord.
That's good.
Ross has commented about the bottles, and I meant to go back, but Rick's now gone. Rick asked about if you had an input on the design of the bottles, because obviously the height of them. You know, you're almost in Spey territory here.
They're pretty tall.
Barman with that height on the shelves. But did you have a say in that? Ross is going to come in here to let me go full circle on that. Will the rare fine range ever bottle non-Scotch whiskey? But also he loves the individual numbers on the new labels. That must have been a smart lad to do that.
So, right, okay, I'll give him that one. So it was always our intention. I'm going to say it was always our intention. I think I'm a whiskey drinker. I'm a whiskey geek myself. And the more information we get on the label, the better. We're working with quite a small space. So it's no secret that we're looking to maximise the label that we can get on the bottle. So this is getting pretty geeky. So I look after the dry goods for the business as well. So bottle types and label sizes is kind of in my wheelhouse as well. But basically because the bottle's quite tapered, you're limited on how far around the bottle you can go before you start get creasing. So we've not got the biggest real estate, but one of the key things that we did want to work towards. And Ross was the straw that broke the camel's back in a trade tasting where he said, mate, going to just put how many bottles there is, because I'm sick of having to look it up and tell punters how rare this stuff is. So we maybe didn't shout about it anymore, but that was literally the moment I was like, right, okay, we need to do this. But hopefully this year we're working on a new label footprint for this bottle type. We're also exploring different bottle types in the future. I really like this bottle, and I get it from a retail perspective. It is quite high, it's quite prominent, but I think it's quite elegant. It feels premium, but that doesn't carry over to our RRP, as I was talking about. We try and be fair about that. I think if someone's handed this bottle, the expectation of quality is there, but the spirit will ultimately dictate that. But one of the things for me about this bottle type is the amount of people that think it's a bespoke bottle. It's not. It's just we were one of the first people to adopt this type of glass design. So I think there's an olive oil company that use it, and I don't think there's anybody else in the spirit game that I'm aware of, especially not in Scotch. So people think this is the rare fine bottle, but it's actually we just happened to showcase it and nobody else was at the time. But there is chat about maybe looking at a smaller format, obviously still the lung capacity of a random English person, but it will be slightly shorter in height, I think, eventually. Maybe. We'll see. We're looking at that just now.
Alan's got one complaint, is it's too big for IKEA shelves.
I've got to sit down with IKEA next week, but it's actually about a crisp cabinet, and it's not about whiskey. So, but I'll mention it while I'm there.
I love the idea of a crisp cabinet. It's taken me long enough to get a whiskey shelf. There's no way I'm going to get a crisp cabinet in my life anytime soon.
I knew I'd get cat chatting again if I chucked in some crisp chat.
Be quiet.
I was letting you do your thing.
Yeah, I was rambling on. It's all good.
I'll let you two talk amongst yourselves. I'm just going to pick the wee man up. He's getting a bit restless. I'll take him through to say hello.
Oh, nice. Have you poured a new dram yet, Kat?
No, because I have to turn my back to everybody if I go and do it. I'm going to ask you Sandra's question, and then I'll go and find a dram.
Yes.
So Sandra's asking, what ABV strengths are the rare fine bottlings? Are they all cask strengths?
So predominantly yes, and I get this is something that comes up in tastings quite a lot. So there's two kind of schools of thought, I think, when people who are in charge of that decision. My thought on it is, if I present it to you as naturally as I can, straight from the cask, you can go through that journey of adding water and getting to the point where you think it's the right strength. Or I would take that decision away and tell you that I think it's best at this percent. But I'd rather give the consumer, they're all natural colour, they're all non-chill filtered, and they're natural cask strength. Apart from I've actually got one here. So there's a perfect example here. We've done a charity bottling with a football player who played for Hibernian Football Club, and the ABV on this Glenallachie was too hot for the consumer. So the customer basically wanted us to bring it down. It was in the 60s. We brought it down so they asked me to pick an ABV. So I tasted it down, and then done the ABV on it. It came out 53.5% was where I like to drink it, but that doesn't mean that's right. And I'd rather not take that decision away from people where I can. So rare find pretty much across the board, unless it's a vatting. And I don't know, did Ross ask if we were ever going to do anything other than Scotch? Was that correct? Did I hear that?
Yeah. Up there. Yeah.
I mean, for someone who's claiming to have picked our label journey, he's maybe missed a few outturns there, because we've done Irish whiskey, we've done cognac, so it's not just limited to whiskey. Rare find is about rare find. Obviously, we're in the Scotch industry, so we have a lot more of that, but we've not tied ourselves down to just Scotch. You will see, and we've done rum. We've still got a 25-year-old single cask Bellevue, which is absolutely tremendous example of a single cask rum, in my opinion. So yeah, we don't tie ourselves down, but we're obviously whiskey heavy with the portfolio of casks we have, but we're not closed off to other spirits as well.
That's cool. I see Dave Fackerson didn't go to bed. He's back. He's got 2 bottles of Gleann Mor to pick up on Saturday, apparently. So there you go.
Oh, nice. There you go.
Come back just to tell us that. So well done, Dave.
Well, guy, I'll send a multi-pack bag of crisps up to Mike for him to give him for that one.
Well, it was Dave that was on the sweet chili sensation. So yeah, send him up a 6-pack.
I know. I took notes. I took notes. It's fine. The chicken and thyme ones. I was going to throw them in there for him just to mix it up.
Yeah, to have this blue cheese. Yeah, we're all heading around to Dave's for a whiskey weekend. That sounds really good. You've got a sleepy little man there.
Yeah, there's the wee man there.
There he is. Look at that. You see, he's got my hair. See, like literally, he took my hair.
He's a wee cracker, mate. Cheers to that. I'll definitely need to pop up and see you all soon.
He's not in his best. Yeah, he's still cute though.
I'm just waiting for him to switch your laptop off with his electronic knowledge that we had earlier on.
I know.
Yeah. He's all shy. He knows you're talking. Yeah. So Tim is, I think he's heading off. Cheers, Cat, Mike, Greg, Great Blether, and the little man. Yeah.
Cheers, Tim.
Ryan H has just joined. He was in a Rosé tasting tonight, so he's apologizing
nice.
for being late. Let us know what you got to try, Ryan. I'm guessing it was it virtual or was it a whiskey club? Or let us know what you got to do.
Or he's just helicoptered back from Rosé, maybe.
Maybe
Sorry?
he's living.
He might have just helicoptered back from Rosé, yeah.
Maybe, yeah, as you do.
That would be some night.
Dave was in
it?
bed. Dave was watching us from his pit.
Oh, lovely. Well, I don't know if anybody's ever watched us while in bed before. That might be with bath, beds. I wonder where else people are watching the Blether from.
Helicopters.
How many people are potentially naked while watching this? Like, I didn't feel I need to ask before, but now I do. Only fans.
You going back to bed?
Well, I felt the pressure when you asked me what am I jamming next. So I grabbed the tallest bottle because you were talking about tall bottles. That thing's massive, isn't it? No, wait, it's wrong.
What one's that?
It's
the Spade.
Yeah. I was like, I need to grab something, and so I went for the biggest thing. Always just grab the biggest thing in front of me. So that's what I've got. But yeah,
the Spade, the compass box is another one that's got quite a tall bottle. Or they did have. Macallan's pretty tall, to be fair.
They are very tall. Is compass box a really pretty one? Is that like the hedonist one? It's got the really pretty. Yeah, that looks lovely. That one. The Spade's a nice bottle, but they stuff it with loads and loads of papers. It's like Christmas morning every time you try and get into a bottle of Spade. It's good fun, but it takes a lot of work to get into it. That's
a compass box one there. Let me see. I don't know what's taller actually. Never checked that. Yeah, we're slightly, probably half an inch taller. But yeah, the compass box is tall as well.
I think Ross is saying that Spade's Michael Owen advert needs to be watched if you've not already. I know that Michael Owen is a football player. I do know this.
Yes, I have seen Michael Owen do a few adverts, and they're usually pretty hilarious. I didn't know he'd done a whiskey advert. I'll definitely need to check that out. If nobody's seen him do his helicopter advert in Dubai, I think it might have been for a property company. That's worth watching as well. It's probably some of the worst acting I've ever seen in my life. I'm hoping that the Spade one's in the same sphere.
He's a footballer. He's not an actor, really.
True, but Ross will probably know him because Ross hangs about with these mega famous sports people now. That was him just You've just name dropping Michael Owen in there.
When I met Michael,
I call him Mike. He's my friend, you know.
Yes, me and Mike. What's he like? What sort of Chris does Michael Owen like? That's what I want to know.
I mean, we're talking about a guy who doesn't doesn't drink tea or coffee. So I don't know if he eats crisps. He's never had tea or coffee in his life.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, he's an absolute enigma of a guy. There's a video of him. I can't remember what age he was, but when he was younger, they were doing some sort of like some young kid got to take shots into a keeper against Michael Owen, and he was literally celebrating in front of this little kid. Like every time he scored, was like giving it like
him, didn't he?
that, like, but not in a jokey way. Like, was deadly serious. Like 1-0 to Michael. Yeah, he's some guy. Hi, if you're watching, Michael. You're probably sitting with Ross.
I think
in the back.
He was. Did he not do a crisp advert as well with Gary Lineker when Gary Lineker was all over Walkers?
Probably. Yeah, probably.
That bandwagon as well.
We're back to crisps again, aren't we?
I couldn't bypass. I couldn't bypass. We asked what his favourite crisps were. We couldn't bypass it.
True. Is that the wee man settled again?
Yeah, I'm currently looking at his butt stuck up in the air.
Oh,
Does he know that Thursdays is the night to kind of play?
Yeah,
have a late night and just annoy you.
No, normally he goes down and that's him. He's really pretty chilled, but he knows his mum's not here tonight. She's away for a walk with the dogs apparently. But I just got a photo from her in the pub. Yeah, she's literally gone to the pub. Yep.
Yeah, but I think it's raining, so she's just taking shelter. She's protecting the dogs, and
that's what it is. Get her to pick up a packet of Scampi fries for paying for when she gets home.
That's a great shout. That's a great shout.
Yeah, I have to be very selective with my crisp snacks nowadays. With I can't just go and grab a bacon or Scampi fries because there's wheat in them. They're crisps.
That's a good point.
So
yeah, normal crisps don't have wheat in though, do they? Like just like Walkers and stuff, they don't have wheat in, do they? They're just tatties.
Some flavorings do. So just for those who don't know, I'm celiac, so gluten intolerant. I'm not just really picky about crisps. But yeah,
sorry, I was aware I was laughing when you were saying that. That was more at the fact that how much of a this is a deep dive into snacks. It wasn't about your affliction to with being celiac.
Just an evil bastard, you.
I'm not sharing my crisps out my jacket with you celiac.
I would need a gluten-free jacket.
Is that where the term jacket potatoes come from?
Jacket.
It should be. I think that's exactly where it comes from.
Yeah, you've taken that too literal. Yeah, you heard someone say jacket potato once, and you were like, "All right, I'll just feed all my friends out my jacket with some crisps."
We just fill my jacket with tatties. Up here, though, we call it tatties, but nobody calls it a jacket tatty, do they? No, what do we
that's
call
a good point.
Be a mac tatty.
Yeah, a mac tatty.
Remember, is that what a mac and cheese is meant to be? Are you meant to eat that out your long coat?
Mac cheesing in.
I wonder how much other food you can eat out your coat. There must be a whole range of untapped jacket eating I've just not done. This whiskey's nice, by the way.
I'm absolutely amazed we still have people watching. And
yeah, like,
try to bring it back to whiskey there. I think the chat, everybody's just chatting among themselves just now because they all know each other and everybody's just having a right old good old time in the chat there. So it's a nice little community we've got here.
Nice.
It is. They'll all bugger off in a minute and go into what's the thing, Mike, that they all go and watch?
Aquavite. Yeah,
Aquavite, yeah. Oh, they're all the barflies, are they?
Yeah, we've got a few barflies on. I think
nice.
was doing a Campbelltown Festival selection. He's just a way to make us really jealous of. The Campbelltown Festival, I think, looked overrated, to be honest. I didn't really see much going on. I didn't see any posts, so I think it was pretty subdued affair.
No, very quiet. I didn't see anybody having a nice time down there at all. I wasn't jealous about that.
It's going to be like when we're over at Germany for the World Cup. I'm just going to shut down. I'm going to block anything related to Germany, Scotland, and Tartan Army on Facebook.
not our bottling, surely, Mike.
Oh no,
You're not going to bottle that, are you?
By shitloads of that, yeah.
Well, one for maybe a nice wee baton to hand over to the barflies that are going over to see Roy. I'll pour my next dram will be a wee Glen Scotia Campbelltown 2021 festival release. So cheers, I hope you enjoy.
Red wine cask, is that the Bordeaux?
Yeah.
such a good dram.
That's a good dram. It's a very good
Actually
dram.
made me jealous because I don't have a Glen Scotia here.
Sorry, I've just read Sandro's comment. He just said, Ryan, this was a great blether, especially if you like crisps, nakedness, and whiskey. I like all those things. I really do. I don't know how I'd rank those. I don't know.
Yeah, crisps is the top. Like that's not up for debate. It's where the other two fall. To be fair.
That's gonna be my my
that's your
crisp
Insta
name
post.
for. What's that?
That's your Insta post.
Yeah, definitely. That's gonna be. You know me too well. This is eventually gonna be my.
And crisps, nakedness, and of course, I couldn't put them in an order. It depends on where you are. If you're in a pub, then nakedness would probably be last in the list.
I mean,
Well, it'll be the last thing you do in that pub, maybe.
I mean, we'd have to put whiskey at the front just because, we are meant, we're meant to be talking about it. So, yeah, whiskey,
Fair.
crisps, and nakedness, I guess. But, yeah, all three together sounds like a great Friday. I'm actually just literally written down crisps, whiskey. I haven't even drank anything. I'm just broken. Crisps, whiskey, and nakedness to remember for my Instagram later. There we go. Thank you, Sam.
Are we gonna save the Nobby's nuts, which kind of straddles 2 bar snacks for the next blether? Yeah.
Are they the nuts have got like the coating on the outside?
Yeah.
They're basically coated in crisps or corn snacks. Yeah.
No,
it's corn snacks. No.
Is it?
It's like a weird powdery stuff in there, like the shell. It must be like corn.
Yeah.
They're like savoury peanut M&Ms.
That's a very good observation, Mike.
Yeah, and also that should be a thing as well. That could be.
It doesn't help what they're made of, but that's what they are.
No. Well,
I feel like that's how they should market themselves.
I think so. I think that should also be a thing, though. Imagine that if you had like crispy coated, like I know M&Ms are, but if you're like savoury coated M&Ms, like you're ticking both snack options, your sweet and your savoury. That'd be the ultimate snack. We should make those. That'd be Blether snack. Let's hashtag that for the merch.
That's like the missing revel.
Oh, revels, yes. Are they still a thing? Do you still get revels? The coffee one.
Oh, they're. Yeah, that was a gamble. I felt like that was like.
Yeah, the coffee was a gamble. Yeah, like because it could have been an orange one, or it could have been what was the other good one? Was it the toffee? They're all like the three that are the same shape.
Yeah.
Nobody wants
basically a poppet.
Yes. Yeah. Pretty much. For anybody that's not British watching this, I'm really sorry. This is very British snack based. It's like I'm totally here for it though. Like Revels, Poppets, like what else could we name? Salt and Shake, like so many British snacks.
I just want to jump into to Ryan's chat. He's had a couple of comments. He tried the Glen Scotia rum cask last week. I love the double cask Glen Scotia. He's asking what we're all drinking, but he's also put the nail in the coffin for his own life. He said he'll be watching from the start tomorrow morning.
Oh.
Right. I hate to disappoint you, Ryan, but this is like the teaser trailer that well like performs the actual performance.
Also, we had one person tune in San Francisco in the morning, and they left quite early. So maybe watch it at night after you've had a couple of drams, rather than in the morning.
Do you know though? I think for once it's not actually me that's kickstarted the nonsense. I do believe it came from elsewhere.
Mike.
I don't.
Yeah, I think it was.
I think it was Mike. I think it was Mike.
Yeah, I think it was Mike. Yeah, it all started there. Yeah.
I mean, how far back are you going? Are you going right back to when I had the idea of starting the Blether? Because that would be.
Yeah,
no.
That works. That works.
I think we've balanced it out well with lots of whiskey chat in between, though. I think it's been a good broad
It's all
spectrum.
relevant. Every conversation we've had has been relevant to whiskey.
Exactly. And Ryan likes that's the idea of the night: double coated sweet and savoury M&Ms. Oh my god, yes! Like as a Scottish citizen, we pretty much deep fry everything. So I can't believe that savoury M&Ms have not happened. I saw a thing on Instagram the other day they deep fried a cotton collar caterpillar cake the other day. So I mean, anything's possible.
100% someone's deep fried M&Ms is definitely a thing. It must be, because I've seen Maltesers, I've seen Bounties, I've seen obviously Mars bars, the one that everyone goes to. But like literally, there's a fish and chip place in Leith that if you take in a chocolate bar of your choice, they'll deep fry it. They've no rules. They'll do whatever you want to do with that.
I love that. No rules deep frying. Oh, you could do what about Tomic's tea cake? You could do that as well, couldn't you? Oh my gosh.
I don't know if that would survive it though. I don't think, and structurally, I don't think it would survive. The chocolate dome's a bit thin, and then you've got the air in the inside. There's a lot of air there, so the acceleration of temperature would probably cause a catastrophic chocolate dome failure.
Meltdown. I got scientific.
Yeah, a meltdown. Yeah.
A chocolate dome meltdown.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that. Like, imagine the news. There's been a chocolate dome meltdown in Leith. I'm like, oh no, Greg's taking his tea cake to the fish and chip shop. We warned him live on air.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of tea cake, to be fair. Anyway, I don't like marshmallow. It's overrated. I'm confused by Dave Fackerson's comment of my Facebook as a cover photo of Dave's burning nuts. I'm not too sure what he means by that, but maybe I've just honed in on a bit of the chat that I've missed further up the page. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I think you've skipped 6 or 7 comments from Dave by the sound of it.
I might have done it, actually, yeah.
I'm away to look at Dave Fackerson's Facebook page.
I was just distracted there. I'm like a squirrel. As soon as you write the word nuts, that's me. I'm all over it.
There he is. There's the man himself.
So is that is that a real snack then that he's taking a picture of, or what?
Everyone's talking about Dave's nuts, it says.
Well, Dave's they are now, Dave.
Well, I wonder, remember how we're talking about where you put the mustard in the ham and mustard crisp costume?
Yes. Yeah. Wow.
Do you know what's a good barometer? If Ross is still here watching, we know we've straddled enough whiskey chat. If he's hung around for all the snack chat. Has he left us yet?
I think maybe he has. He's gone quiet.
Maybe he has.
Yeah. He'll be away down the pool with Michael and Sam in LA or wherever they are.
I know, right? Yeah, but he'll be like, sitting there with all his like supermodels, like, and instead of crisps, it'll be cocaine or something. I don't know.
That took a twist.
Whatever these celebrities do.
What whiskey would you pair your cocaine with? Let's not start that conversation.
No, let's not. I don't know much about celebrities, but
Ross is back. He's still here.
Ross is still here. I mean, I don't live a celebrity lifestyle. I don't know. I'm assuming you're not just sitting with Sam Hugh and eating onion rings, but you might be. I don't know.
I'm surprised he gets Wi-Fi on the private jet back from Isla, to be honest.
Well, yeah, that's true, actually.
Blether and bar snacks. But who was the guy? Big pause that said Blether and bar snacks. Who was it always said it was a cartoon. It always had that kind of damnation, like blistering barnacles or something. It
was Foghorn. Somebody Foghorn Leghorn. That was his name.
Oh,
no, sorry. No, sorry. Are you talking about Tintin?
Yeah, was it Captain?
Yeah,
no. Was it Captain?
Now we're going to the cartoons. Captain Haddock from Tintin, maybe. Blistering barnacles.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
What was Foghorn Leghorn then?
He was
a cartoon expert.
Was he the cockerel that used to say, "Well, I say, bar"?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was him.
My cartoon knowledge isn't up with the crisp knowledge.
No. But you don't get those cartoons anymore. They were the really good ones, but they're all weird kind of.
Slapstick comedy is not allowed in cartoons anymore. You can't hit a mouse over the head with a frying pan anymore in a cartoon.
No, or throw a coyote. But no, you can't do any of those things anymore.
All right.
That's really depressing because everything's got to have a happy ending. But like, yeah, like it's all just like weird people dressed up like kind of, I don't know, what's the Tinky Winky Oompa Loompa? I don't know what all the cartoons are now. In like garden, Iggly Piggly, I don't know.
Oh, in the night garden. Yeah, I've
I
got a
got
4-year-old. I know what in the night garden is, because I have to watch it every day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do too. And I've actually we've got a little keyboard. It's about this big. There's about 12 keys on it, and I can play the In the Night Garden theme tune on it now.
But that's not anything to do with having a child. That's just something you do. Like
When I
your
say
own
now,
time.
it's been taking years of practice.
He's honed that over 10 years.
I'm pretty sure I played that to you while you fell asleep in my spare bed the other year.
Yeah, I think you did, yeah.
You
We
serenaded.
haven't even gotten onto the Glenfiddich Festival yet. That's a whole.
Oh wow, yeah. Let's just let that one lie. My black eyes just healed from that festival. To be fair. Oh
That
wow.
wasn't blistering barnacles. That was blistering bloody temple. Was that one?
Yeah,
See, I feel like
my tent. I got attacked by my tent cat. For just for your reference,
I
Mike
was
dragged me
thinking,
along to the Glenfiddich Festival and made me drink a lot of whiskey, and I got attacked by my own tent, and then had to sleep in Mike's spare tent, which he brought. Who has a spare tent anyway. I'm still thankful he had it. That's where he kept his stuff, like he had a spare room, like an extension on your own tent. He brought an extension to his tent, and he let me sleep there.
I love that. You're like you're such a Boy Scout with your spare tent.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm a city boy. I had no wellies in one tent.
Tents are dangerous. Trying to get out of a pair
Yeah, I know.
skinny jeans is not easy. Oh, we've got Ross is saying goodbye. He's off back to the pub, and we're losing quite a few people to the thingy, the V pub. Yeah. That's the barflies, the bar thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Bye, Ross.
Bye, Ross. Thank you for joining.
Bye, Ross. Bye, Dave. Who else is left? Alan, cheerio. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I think it's a good time to wrap up before we
before everybody leaves us.
Greg, please don't disappear. It'd be great to catch up again. Just offline. But
absolutely.
Thank you, everyone. We are pushing 3 hours for that Blether. So
oh my God,
kudos
so
to the guests for their stamina and staying power on that. Hopefully we kept it interesting and fun. They're all disappearing to V-Pub for some serious whiskey chat now.
We had serious chat for a while. We definitely did.
Yeah. Big Pour loved the chat. So, as long as somebody out there loves it, it's more than worthwhile.
Thanks for having me on as well.
Thank you, Greg. I know it's been busy time for you, so we do, and we always appreciate our guests coming on and giving up their time to have a chat. If it results in sales for you, it's fantastic. We just love to get you guys exposed to maybe a new audience or whatever. Talk about the whiskies, and yeah. 22nd of June, guys, just a shameless plug. We haven't had one tonight. We've got 150 years worth of mature spirit whiskey at the tasting in Inverurie from Gleann Mor. So come along to that if you can. If you send us an email, if you can't make it but we'd like a tasting pack, we might be able to do something for you there. Kat, before we say goodnight to our last few stragglers, next week, are we confirmed?
I'm actually organised this week. Next week, we should have Dr. Cornelia Maduli, who used to be Glengarry's distillery manager and is now Glen Murray's distillery manager. But Cornelia is shit at answering his emails. So I will track him down. I will literally drive to Elgin if I have to. I know where your office is, Cornelia. I am coming for you. I will find you. You did agree to come on the chat. So we will have Cornelli next week, one way or another. Whether he is tied to a chair and we're coming live from his office, we will have Cornelli next week. So look out for that, guys.
I hope that's the case. I would love to just come on live. We've got Cornelli tied.
You got a hostage.
You know what? Like, weirder things have happened on this chat, so I'm not going to rule anything out.
Guys, we're going to say goodnight. And I will probably see you on the VPub. I'm not sure. Greg, do you follow the VPub at all?
Yeah. I used to watch live when I could. I might do tonight, actually. It'd be a nice bookend to the night. But I usually catch up after it's been published. I've been lucky enough to meet Roy a couple of times. He's a great guy. And yeah, if you're on there, I might see you on.
Perfect. Good night, guys, and have a great weekend. Slange.
Slange.